What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
All right. What is it? Sunday night? It's the Sunday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. We're an hour and a half late tonight. I hope everybody saw the message I put up. Sorry about that. Had some people working on the roof today, just the way it is. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's only an hour and a half. All right. So let's see. Sunday. I hope everybody's had a very nice weekend. And good weather and all of that. I'm sure it's been great. Let's go through the menu. Oh, first off, let's just say hi to Spambot. Izzy, how you guys doing? All right, looks like Spambot got the first like. You know what that means? That's double good karma. So anytime that somebody subscribes to the channel or likes the stream, they get good karma. But the first like, whether that's on Rumble, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on Locals, whether that's on X, because I'm streaming to all of those places all at once. Anytime somebody gets the first like on any of those, it's double good karma. As you know, I build up a reservoir of good karma while I'm preparing for the streams and during the streams. At first, I thought, well, I should keep it to myself. I could use all this good karma. Then I realized that's bad karma because it's greedy. So I have to give it away as much as I make it. So double good karma for the first. If you liked every single stream first, that's 8 good karma right there. 8. Imagine how much good that could do for your life. In any case, let's go through the menu. What are we going to talk about? So we'll go through the menu. Just look at the topics. We'll get back to the chat for a second if there's much going on there. And then we'll dig into these stories more deeply. So first off, we're going to talk about this IVF bomber in Palm Springs, this IVF clinic bomber in Palm Springs. This guy is he's a nut bar. I mean, totally nuts, but a political nut bar. My question is, what does it take for anybody doing anything for a left-wing cause to be considered a left-wing extremist? Because we hear about the right-wing extremism. Apparently, there's no left-wing extremism except for, like, everything. So we'll take a look at this. And we'll take a look at the LA Times talking about this. And you won't be surprised when I show you the framing in it. Kash Patel. So talking about the Russiagate hoax. We've got actually a few clips of Kash here, a few new clips of Kash in this interview. I think you're all going to find it interesting. There's some stuff. There's some stuff that's disappointing for people as well. There's some stuff that'll be very interesting. My thoughts are you got to let the guy cook. He's saying that Jeffrey Epstein did in fact end himself. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we'll take a look at this. We'll spend some time on that. We're going to take a look at Canada, the Canadian economy. Doug Ford, the supposedly progressive conservative premier of Ontario, is now making noises, the kinds of noises he should have been making during the federal election, instead of like having tea with Mark Carney. Could have done some good then. We're going to talk a little bit about Mark Carney and what a fraud he is, and how terrible he's going to be for the country, and how much it sucks, actually. Let's see. We've got, the absolute state of Canada. So I don't know. Now, just rename Canada Gaza. Justin Trudeau told us we were a post-national state with no core identity. Just call us like cold Gaza now, I guess. I didn't vote for any of this. Let's see. We got some woke mind virus, crazy people. So we always like to look at them. We're going to take a look at some Trump stuff. We're going to take a look at, with Trump, his strategy, what he's doing with the Middle East, why he's doing this stuff. It's a basic shift in philosophy. in it's more of a let's make deals instead of I just drop bombs on everybody. So I don't know. Some people probably like that. I think a lot of people probably think that's better. I don't know. Let's see. And then we've got a bunch of stuff. There's a guy talking about Elon Musk there. We've got a bunch of stuff going on in here. We've got some comedy in here. This is the last bookmark for the evening. We've got a cat who doesn't understand this table. Damn, that's not fair. We got some more comedy. Dave Landau, he's very funny. We all like him. Yeah, so this is the kind of random stuff we look at the end of the stream. This is where we go with it. We got some Bill Maher in there. All right. So, what are you guys saying? Not much. Good evening, everybody. Nothing a better government couldn't fix. Well, in Canada, I think we've just given up on better government. Maybe it's just enjoy the long ride down at this point. I don't know. I'm not going there. I'm not black-pilled. I have to have hope. I was very black-pilled at the end of the at the results of the election. Very, very black-pilled, actually. The problem is I had totally underestimated the stupidity of the Canadian people. I really thought we're getting there. And we weren't that far off. We're a few points off, really. Probably we really needed, with the way that the Liberal vote is laid out, we probably needed an extra 5 points. But, it was the highest percentage, almost 42%, highest amount in 40 years. If the left hadn't united behind Carney, it would have been a different story. But in any case, let's not get into that. God damn it. It's depressing. But anyway, I'm bringing myself back. You can't just be under a dark cloud all the time. Izzy says, tea with Mark Carney, doesn't that cause cancer? I don't know. It might. It might. All right. So I guess we'll just get to it then. All right. Hopefully people will show up. Maybe we should just kill a bit of time until people start showing up. Because, I realize it's an hour and a half late. And maybe some people didn't see the thing I put up, that we changed it. Maybe we'll wait just a little bit. What should we do? Should we just go through random Twitter stuff for a little bit? How about that? Or, sorry, X. Why would I say Twitter? That's crazy. Hold on. Let me pull something up here. What have we got? What's this? Give me a second. Random stuff. What the heck? What the heck? All right, hold on. Let's look at some random stuff here. Let's see. I got to do this first because I want to just go on stuff that I'm following. All right. Well, here's something from Enrique Tarrio, who was the leader of the Proud Boys, totally lied about and smeared in the media. Apparently, the non-white leader of the white supremacist Proud Boys, that never made a lick of sense to me. What I'm about to say may sound fucked up to some people. I have absolutely no sympathy for Joe Biden. He is the architect of my imprisonment. He is the reason I was locked in a cage. He did it for political gain. He did it for power. He did it to fundraise. He didn't only do it to me. He did it to 1,600 others. He can rot. Gone are the days when I'd be the bigger person. Off topic, a 6-pack of confetti poppers are $16.99 on Amazon. You never know when you'll need them. So if you had been sentenced to, what was it, like 40 years, hard time for when you hadn't even he wasn't even there on January 6th. I think he texted, don't leave. He didn't have it. There was no plan, nothing like that. They wanted to put him into prison for decades, hard time. And that's entirely political. So he can say whatever he wants, right? I'm sure his life flashes before his eyes constantly all the time. If, I mean, if Trump hadn't won, he'd just be in prison forever, the rest of his life. For nothing. For nothing. All right. ALX says, no, this is something I've been saying forever. Drinking Coke from a glass bottle is superior. It absolutely is. I don't drink much pop. I rarely drink pop. I actually did have a can of Coke, a cold can of Coke with dinner tonight. I rarely do. I probably have 2 cans of Coke a year. I don't really drink pop. But yeah, glass bottle is the best. Can, good. Plastic bottle, I don't even want it. You know what? You can keep that garbage. That utter, absolute garbage. I don't want it. If you give me a plastic bottle of Coke, I just take the top off and pour it out in front of you and just stare at you. Stare right in your eyes while I do it. Fuck you. I don't want this garbage. This garbage plastic bottle of Coke. Fuck you. You know where you can put it. Absolutely not. But from a can, a cold can of Coke from a can, it's very nice. I really enjoyed it. But from a glass bottle, you can't get any better than that. That's absolutely the best. What are you guys saying? Spambot's saying Rando X is good. It is actually. We're having fun, right? Right? Nevada says, are we live yet? Yes, we are. Spambot says, I like wobbly pop. I used to like those wobbly pops. Strongbow cider is my pop of choice, says Spambot. Yes, I used to like those as well. Before they ruined everything, and I had to stop. Let's see. Nevada says, I got the third like, I think. JJ Nevada, glass is always best. So since it's a quiet night in here, it's like because we're at a different time than normal, we had to delay it. I think that the regular crowd showed up and then it wasn't there and then figured it's not on for the night. So I don't know. Third like, so given that, I think I'm going to do something special that I don't always do. But the first like tonight, and that was who was that? Who got it? Was it Spambot? I believe Spambot got the first like. That's normally double good karma. Double good karma. It's 3 times good karma tonight. 3 times. Second is 2 times. And then third will be 1.5 times good karma because it's a special evening. And I can't be such a hard ass all the time, such a stickler for the rules, especially when it's just all completely made up and not real. Anyway, maybe it's not real. Maybe it is real. I don't know. Maybe that karma really does help you. Do you really want to risk it? Let's see. I don't know. I don't care about that. I don't know what that is. I don't care about that right now. So what is this guy saying? He's saying that Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis comes at the perfect time to stop all of the discussions of his actual crimes. Well, that's interesting. You know what I'm starting to think? I'm having fun with this. Maybe we should start every stream with just some of the rando stuff before we get into the stuff that I already have prepared. That might be fun. All right, let's take a look at this.
All right, so I'm sure you've heard by now, because the whole world's heard by now, Joe Biden has been diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer that has metastasized into his bones. So let's call it for what it is. It's a terminal diagnosis. It's terminal cancer. The chance of him living a year is not great. They're going to tell you all sorts of things, but isn't it convenient that just in time to stave off all the conversations about the Robert Hur recording that has just been released, where Joe Biden doesn't know when he was vice president, doesn't know when his son, Bo, died, doesn't know when Donald Trump was elected president, it is completely obvious that everything we said for years and years about Joe Biden is exactly true. He had no ability to run this country, which is why we had the auto pen. So just in time for that, we get this terminal diagnosis of cancer. You can't pick on a guy who's got cancer. Look, when I talk about Joe Biden having dementia, I'm not taking shots at Joe Biden. I'm taking shots at everybody around him, Jen Psaki and all the people that protected Joe Biden. I'm talking about little Chuck Todd. I'm talking about Jake Tapper. I'm talking about all the dishonest sons of bitches in the media. and all the lying assholes around him in the White House. I'm not taking a shot at Joe Biden. I feel sorry for the man. Nobody wants to face a cancer diagnosis. But one more thing about that. Didn't he just have a complete physical last year? Didn't they?
Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. I've got some of that set up, actually. But, Joe Biden, yes, he was obviously the figurehead for some junta of far left globalists. Clearly, he wasn't making the decisions. We know about the auto pen now, right? But it's not like he was a good guy, or that he is a good guy, or that he was ever a good guy. I mean, his biggest achievement in his entire political career had been protecting credit card companies, for God's sakes. He's not a good guy. He still got up on stage and basically said that half the country were white supremacists and demonized people. And it's not like he had no idea what was going on around him. Not like he had no idea. It's just he wasn't controlling any of it. They're just putting pieces of paper in front of him and he was signing them. But it's not like he had literally no idea what was going on. He's not a good man. I don't wish ill on him at all. But there is the question, though, about, it seems like fairly obvious if this is advanced, if the cancer is quite advanced, obviously he had it while he was president and it was being hidden and his medical information was faked by his doctor, clearly. Not much else makes sense, although I don't know how many boosters did he have, or did he have any? I don't know. That's a question, too. Declaration of memes. When you and your libertarian friends see each other using roads, you should be here. Neither should you. Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. So what's going on here? Bukele's Bitcoin flex up 357 million. When there was that big Bitcoin crash a few years ago, the Liberal Party of Canada, remember Chrystia Freeland, they really, really played it up that because Pierre Poilievre is he's pro financial freedom for people. He's a conservative, thinks people should be able to do what they want with their money. So he's pro there being cryptocurrencies, right? He said that it's a way to diversify your portfolio. He didn't mean, when you say diversify, you don't mean take all of your money and put it on this one thing. Right? It's like diversify. Usually you're taking 5% or a few percent, something like that. And you know that there's some risk involved. Well, when there was a big crash, they made a big fuss about Pierre Poilievre. And if you'd listened to him, you would have lost all of your money. He never said put all of your money in. And by the way, there must be a lot of Canadians that are very pissed off when they took Chrystia Freeland's advice or listened to Chrystia Freeland, freaked out, and then sold all of their Bitcoin because anybody who did that then lost a lot of money, obviously. They dropped 287 million into Bitcoin. It's now worth over 644 million. From a 25 million low in 2022 to 655 million high, the chart looks like a crypto roller coaster. But right now, Bukele's riding high. Well, that's the thing. It could crash again. It probably will at some point. I don't think it's going away for good, ever. I think crypto is here to stay. I think that when it's fully integrated with some sort of X wallet, because obviously Elon Musk is going to want to go there, right? And probably not. I've got some Doge. I've got a bit of Doge that I'm just holding on to because there's going to be Doge around that. It's going to be promoted in that, right? So, also as well, Rumble's made a huge deal with I think they're called Tether, and this is a crypto thing, and there's going to be a Rumble wallet, crypto wallet coming up. I think towards the end of the year, which is an exciting thing. No, crypto's not going anywhere. Will it crash again? Will people lose money? Yes. Will people make a lot of money? Yes. But if I were one of those people who listened to Chrystia Freeland or the Liberal Party of Canada at that time, I'd be. You can't really blame them. You can't do something dumb and then blame somebody else because they're also dumb, right? Ultimately, it's your fault. But I could see people saying, I never should have listened to those liberal retards. Why did I do that? Big mistake. All right, what else we got going on here? All right. Let's see. You know what? We've not got, I'm just noticing it now. The text, the chat is not coming up on the stream. God damn it. Let me turn it off and on again. See if maybe, no, it won't work. It won't work. Will not work. Oh, well, that's a bummer. Maybe it'll kick in at some point. All right. Yeah, the Leafs are out, by the way. They're gone. So, in just out with a whimper, 6-1. I feel bad for the Toronto fans. They got tricked again. Game 7 and just nothing. Just nothing. Out with a whimper. It's very, very sad. All right. So one Canadian team left in the Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton. And that'll just have to do. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Let's get to the chat and then we'll get moving. We'll get into the stories. Spambot says it's probably turbo cancer from the Couve shot 0.3. Yeah, it may be. It may be. Who knows? Although I'm kind of, Biden, I don't know. Did he ever get like a real one? Did he get saline shots? Did he get real ones? I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. Let's see. Spambot says he has a bit of Doge, a bit of Ethereum, a bit of Bitcoin. Yeah, that's basically me too. Rosie, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Richie, Spambot, Izzy, and others. I'm on vacation at Gulf of America. Good for you. Am alone and listening. May have to leave off and on. I got the first like. So that's triple good karma for you tonight. It's just one of those special nights. We're tripling it up. All right. Anyway, well, enjoy your trip and don't feel like you have to hang out here while you're on your vacation. But it's probably better if you do, quite frankly. Let's see. Nevada spam, always good to spread it around a bit. Yes. All right. Oh, Spambot says she got first like on X. Well, the three stands, just as it does for you. I have screenshot proof I had first here. You get the 3. You get the 3 times good karma, Spambot. 100%. I mean, tonight, if somebody had gotten first like on all 4 platforms that we're streaming live to right now, Rumble, YouTube, Locals, and X, that would have been 12. That would have been 12 good karmas. Something good was bound to happen. All right, let's get into this. So, Palm Springs IVF clinic bomber ID'd as Guy Edward Bartkus, a pro-mortalist who opposed people being born without their consent. Well, I'm not sure there's any other way for it to happen. So let's take a look at this. So yes, a fertility clinic was bombed in Palm Springs. So yeah, probably not MAGA, right? 25-year-old self-described pro-mortalist has been identified as the attacker who detonated a car bomb outside a fertility clinic in Palm Springs Saturday, killing himself and injuring 4 other people. So right there, dead behind the eyes. This looks like if Greta Thunberg had a boyfriend, that would be him. Only he would also be a tree. Let's see. Bartkus allegedly described his fanatical pro-death beliefs in written and recorded manifestos as being against bringing people into the world without their consent to spare them from future suffering. On Saturday, FBI agents swarmed his home and evacuated the neighborhood, declaring it a blast zone over concerns that he could have left explosives behind. Now, if there was a picture of this guy standing on a street somewhere and there was like an American flag barely visible somewhere in the distance, they would call him far-right mega extremist immediately, because they just do that every time. Any way that they can try, even something as obviously ridiculous as that the Butler, Pennsylvania shooter was actually a Republican, Trump supporter. Makes no sense, but they'll just latch on to anything or nothing just to try and gaslight everybody. So this is the New York Post. I don't see anything about far-left extremism here. This guy is some sort of like extreme Malthusian. Just doesn't think there should be people on the planet at all. In fact, we've got some of the things that he's written here, allegedly from him, but it seems to be pretty solid so far. And yeah, this, if you're going to call it anything, this has to be, these are left-wing themes in this. But nowhere will you see him be called a far-left extremist. Not in conservative media. Certainly not in like the LA Times. We'll get to there. They have an interesting take on it, the LA Times, that may not surprise you at all. Now, this guy is a nutcase, but he's a political nutcase, right? It's got a manifesto. So why it bothers me, the terminology around these different kinds of acts, is that a teleprompter reader on whatever ABC News or CNN or whatever will talk about how the vast majority of violence comes from the right, and they'll just somebody who's anti-government, just any kind of tiny string they can connect to somehow justify calling it right wing. They will do that. And they'll say, no, there's nothing coming from the left. It's all from the right. But they ignore everything from the left, right? I mean, what was there any far left extremism in 2020 during the Summer of Love? How about when the communists took over like 3 city blocks in Seattle? Was that far left extremism? Yes, but they don't count it. That's the problem. The last 7 mass shooters have all been they, thems, who are all political. They don't count. They're just mentally ill. This is this trick that they play. And we're going to see some of the framing in this LA Times article we're going to get to in a second. So here from Andy No, the man who died bombing the fertility clinic in Palm Springs, California, allegedly did it as an act of war against the pro-life and pro-natalist movement. A manifesto allegedly written by the man was posted online before the bombing. It has some similarities to the rantings of the far left, who also hate Christianity and view being pro-life as fascist. If you're using these same standards, as the left does for right-wing extremism, this guy's a left-wing extremist. Of course, this will never be recorded as such. It'll be ignored. But this is. All right, let's get to it. So what is the end goal? The end goal is for the truth, ephilism, to win. And once it does, we can finally begin the process of sterilizing this planet of the disease of life. Life can only continue as long as people hold the delusional belief that it is not a net zero sum game or hold the delusional belief that it is not a zero-sum game causing senseless torture and messes it can never or only partially clean up. I think we need a war against the pro-lifers. So right here, you can just immediately say, if you're using the same standards that the left does, this is far-left extremism, and it should be counted as such. It is clear at this point that these people aren't only stupid, They simply do not care about the harm they are perpetuating by being willing agents for a DNA molecule. This is crazy. This is idiotic, right? But it's political. Let's see. Let's see. What group of philosophies does this all relate to? Negative utilitarianism, Ethelism, abolitionist veganism, basically philosophies that have realized religion is retarded. So, anti-religion, anti-Christianity, but that there is objective value in the universe, and it lies in the harm being experienced by sentient beings. So, although it may seem dark, it's the polar opposite of nonsense like nihilism. I don't know. Is it really the polar opposite? I mean, the philosophy here is everybody has to die. So I don't know. Even if it's not totally, it's obviously not totally nihilism. It's not that it's just not good. It's just a really bad philosophy. The everybody on earth has to die philosophy. The I want everybody to die philosophy is just a bad philosophy. I mean, not everybody is miserable. You're going to burn in hell for this. I know, not a question, but I wanted to say your God definitely doesn't exist, but if he did, I'd choose Satan over your evil God. Did you ever think that maybe the Bible is just slander against Satan, blah, blah, blah? This is a leftist. Let's see. Pro-mortalist, you're just pro-psycho killer, so what's his response to that? No, understand your death is already a guarantee, and you can thank your parents for that one. All a pro-mortalist is saying, let's make it happen sooner rather than later. So all we're saying is that we want everybody to die right now, and for there to be no humans on the planet. That's all we're saying. It's not like we're being unreasonable. So, yes, crazy. Some similarities to the rantings of the far left, who also hate Christianity and view being pro-life as fascist. I don't know. Do you think this guy's MAGA? Feel like he's not MAGA. Feel like this guy's left wing? Think like this guy might listen to, I don't know, he might agree with something that comes from AOC or Bernie or something? Probably. The real problem is that when these people, right, so they will go out of their way just for any kind of tenuous link to anything for somebody. So when you have an atrocity, some sort of mass crime or bombing or something like that, they will look, and they don't actually happen very often from certainly not from MAGA people. That's very rare. But when there's something, they will look for any kind of tenuous bond, anything they can say. Maybe there's a picture of him, and far off in the distance there's a American flag or something, which must mean that he's evil and that he's MAGA or blah 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 blah. Like they tried to claim that the Butler, Pennsylvania shooter was pro-Trump, right? I mean, that's how insane it is. But they frame it so that there's this narrative that all the violence, and they say this, no, all the violence comes from the right. The problem is they just don't count anything from obvious leftists. Is this just a normal guy? No, I think the people who commit these kinds of crimes are never just normal people, are they? But if it's political, this is clearly political in nature. If they're going to call just anything, no matter how ridiculous, right-wing extremism, you have to call this. If they actually did, well, and they're not going to do this, right, because it's the wrong narrative, but they actually did, they would give the American public of what's happening in their country, but that's not their job. That's not their job. Giving people, objective reality is not their job. Their job is to create a myth, a lie. So that's why like every leftist is convinced that conservative, whatever, or just, classical liberals, that's where all the violence is. They're the violent ones. It's because when leftists, it's almost all of the extreme acts are coming from left. They almost a monopoly on it at this point. But they don't call it that. They'll call it social justice. Or they'll say, oh, it was just mentally ill. Well, yeah, I mean, there's usually something wrong with somebody who does something like this, but you can't ignore what this guy has written. You can't ignore the guy's manifesto. So I think I was a little inarticulate on that one, but we're not done yet. So Los Angeles Times. So this is an example of what I'm talking about here, the narrative control. As Palm Springs reels in wake of clinic bombing, authorities name suspect and say city is safe. So they generally go through here and just explain what was happening. They talk to a few locals. Then down at the end of the article, we see this. Adam Neal and Todd Danforth, two other Palm Springs residents, said they have many friends who have relied on fertility clinics to start families. They said it didn't feel as if the attack targeted LGBTQ people, but it certainly sent a message that rippled through the community in a town long known as a queer mecca. What? This has nothing to do with it, aside from the fact that I guess just the lunatic, the far left lunatic who did this just wanted everybody dead, including all of the identity groups as well. But there's no need to throw this in there. This is a total red herring. This is to frame it so you walk away from it feeling like, well, this was somehow right wing. That this is the drip, the drip of propaganda, of social engineering, of narrative control. The drip. This is just another little drip of that. They said it didn't feel as if the attack targeted LGBTQ people, but it certainly sent a message that rippled through the community in a town known as a queer mecca. This has nothing to do with anything. This was put in there for a reason. It's for a reason. It's to trick the public, their reading public, into walking away from it feeling like, yeah, this is right-wing people are bad. Somehow this is right-wing. Somehow it's right-wing. It has nothing to do with anything. This is social engineering right here. This is social engineering 101. This is framing 101. Again, they're not there to educate you. They're not there to inform you. They're there to manipulate you. And this is just a perfect example of that. All right. Let's get back to the chat for a second. And before we move on, we don't have a huge show tonight. We're not going to be that long, I don't think. Although we did muck about a bit at the beginning, wasting some time. But let's take a look at the chat. All right. Izzy says, sounds a little bit nuts to me. Make that huge nut. Well, it's true that people can be deranged, but also political. People can be deranged by politics. It sounds like that's what this guy did. He's like a Malthusian extremist, but that's not right wing. Let's see. Nevada said, the guy said he was mad because he didn't consent to being born. Yeah, but I mean, not everybody's mad about being born. Some of us quite like it. In fact, the vast majority of us quite like it. So, let's see. Rosie says, yeah, and who did? That's the thing. Like, that's the only way you get born without your consent. And that's fine. That's fine. Most people are glad. The vast majority of people are glad that they were born. Let's see. Nevada said, this guy is left of West. Complete nutbar, as he says. You can be sure there are leftists praising him. Yes, because that's consistent. That is broadly consistent with leftist ideology. They think there's too many people. They wouldn't all go so far as to say there should be no people. But I don't know, if Greta Thunberg was being really honest, what would she say? So Radio Streamer is back from his fishing trip. Welcome back. Let's see. Looks like Streamer got some nice blue channel catfish and lots of brim and a few shad. Very nice indeed. Your house is going to stink. Get up all that fish. Princess Baloney hates fish. She will not eat it. Not even like a delicious, crispy fish and chips. It's sad. I like that. And I like fish too. Let's see. All right. What are we doing now? Let's get to the next story, shall we? All right. So Kash Patel, FBI director. We got a few from Kash. So Benny Johnson posted this. Breaking, Kash Patel announces new evidence linked to the Russiagate hoax has been found. So this is good stuff. This is, I'm interested in this. I think a lot of people are interested in this. I think some people might say, well, the past is the past, focus on now. But I think you do have to look at what happened. Right? Like, you can't really forget it because the same tricks will be used against you again. I do think there has to be some sort of justice around this sort of thing. Let's take a look.
I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence Committee, and I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. And when you layer on the fact that we are rolling out our priorities on violent crime and defending the homeland, we're running a three-part animal here, and we're going 100 miles an hour on each single one.
So important.
I want to add to that, too, because what the director's saying is right. You got to remember, we come in the morning, there's a portfolio of 100 level 10 items. If it's a level 9, which is a pretty big freaking deal, someone else fixed it. The only thing that gets to my desk or his is a level 10. That's the entire day. Look at his schedule any given day. I'll show you the palm card I have. It is filled from 7:30 to he leaves 7 at night, 6:30 at night. It's filled all day. We just can't focus on one thing. You want New York to go boom? DC to go boom? You want an OC organization to go hack into some cyber network and crack all of Fox News' holdings? We're dealing with all that stuff too. Everything's a priority. Everything's a priority. This is one of many things we're doing. It's not an excuse. It's just reality.
I think that's fair. And you have to remember as well that they haven't been in for very long. They haven't been in their roles for very long. But I think you have to assume that they're cooking, right? They're cooking behind the scenes. They're trying to get it done. It's probably a lot of delegation involved. But, I mean, it is fair. You have to remember, like, Biden let in like 20 million people that they didn't know who the hell they were. We know that China was sending, tens of thousands of military-aged men who kept themselves, who all went, through the Darien Gap together, who all crossed the border together, who kept themselves segregated from everybody else. They all looked very serious. They looked like maybe they were from the military or something like that. I mean, every adversary in the world obviously was sending as many people as they could. You think Iran wasn't sending people across the border? I mean, they would just throw their ID away before they got to the border. They didn't need anything. I mean, they were just letting in everybody, 20 million people. Some estimate maybe it was only 15 million people, right? But every organization, every country or organization, every cartel was sending as many people through as they wanted. Obviously, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? Obviously, you're going to do that. So, national security is the first concern, right? And I think they're doing, they appear to be doing a good job with that. But people will want some answers eventually, right? Like the Russiagate hoax. I mean, talking about Russia, what about, I mean, that's a whole thing on its own. But what about if we're talking about corruption, what about Biden? Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Bob Alinsky, the Hunter Biden laptop. We've got all of those emails in there. I mean, that's another thing people want to know. Clearly, I mean, you can't do anything now because of all the pardons that have been handed out, but a real official truth around that's another thing. I mean, there are so many issues. COVID. I mean, the jab Fauci. So it's almost being...
I was the lead Russiagate.
It's almost that they're in an impossible position, isn't it? Regarding January 6th, here's another one. Regarding January 6th and Fed undercovers, and this was posted by Johnny St. Pete. Regarding January 6th and Fed undercovers, Kash Patel says, I want the American public to go back and look at what our predecessors stated to Congress under oath. So this is one of, I don't know, about 1,000 serious issues that I think the public really deserves answers to, deserves some truth around. And it's going to take them a long time to wade through all this, because at the same time they're looking into, the Russiagate hoax and this, and the Hunter Biden laptop stuff, which has to be revisited, obviously. They're actually dealing with threats to the nation and to the public as well, which has to be the first concern, right? The first priority. But let's hear what they have to say.
FBI agents undercover egging people on.
Like I said, that answer is coming, and it's on its way to Congress.
You're about to, I saw it. I saw the portfolio of information. We dug far and wide to find it. And I'm pretty sure now we have a conclusive, definitive answer. But you and the public are going to have it. You're going to see it in writing over to Capitol Hill. But I just want to be sure we're clear, having been an agent and a police officer. There is a difference between an agent. I know you know this. I don't mean to sound ridiculous. An agent, meaning a trained GS 1811 federal agent, and a source or an asset. There's a difference. So when you see the material, which I promise you is coming, again, I'm not asking you to trust us. I know it's coming because I saw it yesterday. When you see it, I understand that it's not an apology for anything, but there's a difference between agents and assets. And I just hope when people put that information out there, make the distinction. Not that it's better or worse, but there's a distinction.
Sorry, let me restart that actually. Hold on. We got echo going. Let's restart
FBI
Let's restart it.
Agents undercover egging people on.
Like I said, that answer is coming, and it's on its way to Congress.
You're about to, I saw it. I saw the portfolio of information. We dug far and wide to find it. And I'm pretty sure now we have a conclusive, definitive answer. But you and the public are going to have it. You're going to see it in writing over to Capitol Hill. But I just want to be sure we're clear, having been an agent and a police officer. There is a difference between an agent. I know you know this. I don't mean to sound ridiculous. An agent, meaning a trained GS 1811 federal agent, and a source or an asset. There's a difference. So when you see the material, which I promise you is coming, again, I'm not asking you to trust us. I know it's coming because I saw it yesterday. When you see it, I just want you to understand that it's not an apology for anything.
Thank you.
But there's a difference between agents and assets. Yeah. And I just hope when people put that information out there, they make the distinction. Not that it's better or worse, but there's a distinction there.
It's a very important distinction.
And I want to level set here. I want the American public to go back and look at what our predecessors stated to Congress under oath, that there were no FBI sources utilized in and around January 6th. I'm going to leave it at that, but go play the videotape and look for this material coming to Congress.
So it seems fairly obvious that there were a bunch of sources there, right? Maybe not agents, but sources, assets. I mean, maybe there was one or two or so, who knows, right? But definitely sources. So we know that. I mean, we knew that already anyway. What was the name of the guy who was out why can't I think of his name? Ray Epps. What about Ray Epps? Will we get some answers on him? It seems fairly obvious he was at least a source, right? I mean, there's a reason why he got a slap on the wrist. There's a reason why he was on like the top 10 wanted list, and then and then just within like a week was just taken off. All of a sudden they didn't care anymore, obviously. So they're saying a lot there without confirming anything, but they're making it obvious. I think a lot of people will be happy to hear this. It depends on how sensational it is. Some people will be disappointed. But I guess we'll just have to hold off and see. Let's check out the next one from Vigilant Fox. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino double down on Jeffrey Epstein claim. So they're saying that there was nobody else, that he did it himself. He ended himself. This I still find hard to believe. We can speculate about why they would say it. I mean, it's perfectly possible that it's totally true that he did it himself. It just seems so unlikely, does it not? But let's listen.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work. You said.
The thing is that if it was just Kash there, you don't know Kash Patel as well. Dan Bongino, I've watched a lot of him, and I mean, you don't know anybody. You can't know anybody just from watching him on the internet, or whatever. But he just does seem like a genuinely principled person. Like, he doesn't seem like someone who would say these words. Hold on, if he didn't mean them.
And that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
I know he did blink, though. He did blink while he was saying it, didn't he? I don't know. Feel free to speculate on this. It sure seemed, I mean, when you just look at the confluence of errors around that, it was like the Butler rally. Just these very unlikely mistakes all happening at once. I don't know. I mean, I want to believe Dan Bongino there. There's something that's telling me yes, he is not a liar. That man's not a liar. But you don't really know anybody. So, I don't know. I mean, I leave it up to you guys. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think. Do you think that they're being honest? Maybe they've been misled. Maybe the evidence has been faked or something. I don't know. It just seems really unlikely that it wasn't some sort of inside job. Let's see. Nevada says, yeah, I will never believe he did it himself. Yeah, it just seems hard to believe. Let's see. Spambot says, you cannot crush your vertebrae by leaning on a rope. Let's see. Turtles, how you doing? Good to see you. JDL, good to see you. Nevada. All right. Looks like we got some doubling up in the yeah, we got some glitches going on with the Rumble stream tonight. It's not showing the chat on screen, and also we're getting some doubling up in the chat. It happens occasionally. Rumble's doing a great job, folks. They're doing a great job. It's just, these things happen. Let's see. Nevada says, where is Ray Epps tonight? And again, we know something was going on there. It seems like there's one thing that there's going to be some answers that won't make everybody happy. But, usually things are nuanced to some degree. But it seems like at least on that one for now, there are some real answers coming. Spambot says, go check Steven Crowder's take on it. I have not seen it, but I will check it out. I'm sure we'll talk about it on tomorrow morning, probably. Maybe I'll check it out then. Let's see. Turtle says the security guards were drugged. Well, how common is it for them to just fall asleep? I mean, we don't know that. Let's see. Nawada says they need to look at the right autopsy. Let's see. JDL says Nord Stream did not commit. Nord Stream was Epstein. Yeah, well, we know that one for sure. Izzy says, I think the cameras would have worked if it was really. Yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know. It's. Again, when you have the cameras don't work, the guards fall asleep, this happens at the same time, it seems unlikely to me. Let's see. All right, Nevada says it's 10:30. Do you know where Ray Epps is? Definitely not being an FBI source. All right, so here is Kash Patel and Dan Bongino breaking their silence on why we still don't have answers about the Trump assassination attempts. This is posted by the Vigilant Fox. So, again, they haven't been in their roles for very long, and they are dealing with every morning when they go into work. I mean, there's a bunch of different threats, like immediate threats they have to deal with. There's all of this corruption from the past administration. There's just an enormous amount of it. The Trump assassination attempts is one that these are cases that look very, very suspicious, particularly the Butler one. Although, the one on the golf course too, with the guy who was tied in with Ukraine is also extremely, extremely suspicious. I mean, how did he know to be there? With the Butler, how was there a half a dozen just inexplicable mistakes, like leaving that roof, the perfect roof to take a shot from, unmonitored, nobody on it? I mean, that's just crazy. That the fact that they let Trump on stage in the first place, you're talking half a dozen catastrophic mistakes. That it's just hard for me to believe that could have happened without some sort of guidance. But let's hear what they have to say about it.
How come we don't have more information on the assassination attempts on President Trump?
There's two reasons, two open, ongoing prosecutions. So 2 of the investigations are obviously closed because the individuals are dead, but there's 2 live prosecutions. And so we can't get ahead of the federal court case. A lot of that information will come out in the federal court cases, but we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike. And we've both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both seen the explosives analysis. We've both seen the firearm and physically held it. We are all in on these investigations.
Are we going to be surprised at what you learned?
You know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now. So out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent, and my personal friendship as a director does with the president, give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
So that doesn't sound promising if you were expecting to hear Inside Man, something like that. Personally, especially with Butler, it just seems incomprehensible to me that it just could have been just this big series of mistakes. I mean, if that's the case, I don't understand how politicians aren't just getting off all the time at these things, because clearly what they're doing isn't working, right? If that was all just by the book, if that was just normal, that's just a normal, there was no inside man, there was nothing malevolent about it, at least from the inside, and that's just normal. I mean, how are any politicians still alive? Because clearly it doesn't work. What they're doing clearly does not work. So, I don't know. Speculate at will, people. Speculate at will. All right. What are you guys saying? Nevada says they erased the tape. You're talking about Epstein there. Let's see. Recorded over it. Let's see. JDL says, remember when the local news station would say, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yikes. Turtles is on the way home from mushroom hunting, so that's nice. Don't eat the black ones. Let's see. All right. Let's move on then. So what do we got next? We're an hour in. Let's see. So from table salt, let's do a bit of Canadian news for a little bit. Doug Ford reveals that it can take 14 to 17 years to get an extraction permit in Canada. Canada is on a fast track to poverty. It might have been helpful if he'd said some of these things during the election campaign. He's supposed to be a conservative, progressive conservative, right? I don't know. He was very clearly trying to get Mark Carney elected, but all of a sudden now he's warning that the Trudeau government policies, which is just what we have now, it's just under Carney now, right? The Liberal Party has been remade in Justin Trudeau's image. It's not your father's or your grandfather's Liberal Party anymore. It's a new thing now. It's an illiberal, radical leftist party. And so Mark Carney of course, Mark Carney is not a button-down moderate. Of course he's not. He's not going to help with any of this stuff. Maybe Doug Ford could have mentioned some of this during the campaign. Maybe that would have done some good. Let's take a look.
That's really where this Bill 5 is coming into play. Folks, when you have investors around the world come here and they need a return on investment, and they hear it takes 15 to 17 years to get a drill in the ground. And by the way, these drills, are you ready for this? Are 4.5 inch in diameter. So there was one company that I've told this story before, a few weeks ago, called me up and said, Doug, I'm sorry, but we've been trying to get a boring hole done, 4.5 inch diameter. It's taken us 7 years. They're telling us it'll take another 7 years. So I've directed my board of directors to take the $500 million, $500 million, and reinvest it somewhere else. I think he said Australia. And that's what we're up against. You can go anywhere in the world, get a permit in 24 months, a year. Up in Ontario, 15 years. And that's that excuse the pun, but there's a gold mine. Alberta's oil is equal to our critical minerals that the whole world wants.
So what I'm saying is this. instead of during the election, Doug Ford saying that what a great guy Mark Carney is, and nobody knows more about economics than Mark Carney, instead of saying that, maybe you should have said this. Maybe you should have said this. Now, Mark Carney is going to string Canadians along with some vague hope of somehow at some point getting rid of all the regulations, Bill C-69, all the things that stop investment from coming into Canada and Canada being able to take advantage of its resources. He's going to string Canadians along with some vague hope that maybe something in the future. He's not going to. Everything he's ever said on camera, everything he's ever written, he wrote a book about it, for God's sakes. It says that he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. It's going to be nothing but blowing borrowed money on green boondoggles. So you, Doug Ford, this would have been appropriate before the election. Before. It would have been better than telling us what a great guy you think Mark Carney is, and how nobody knows more about economics than Mark Carney. It makes me a little bit frustrated, I've got to say. Anyway, let's move on from this. Here we go. So Mark Carney, after saying that there wouldn't be a budget this year, because don't forget, Mark Carney is this genius economist, super capable, super buttoned down, conscientious guy. Told us after he won the election that we didn't even really need a budget this year, so you don't need to know where all the money's going or what the plan is, because whatever, I'm king, I'm emperor of Canada now. I'm the globalist technocrat emperor of Canada now. So that didn't go over well. Even on the CBC, they were saying this is terrible. So I was coming out and saying, well, we'll give you a budget in the fall. Maybe. Will anything in it even be true? That's the question. This man is just an inveterate liar. The reason that they didn't want to release one at all this year is because the obvious reason is that Canadians will see where all their money is being wasted. And they won't like it. And that there will be at least some media figures who will look at it and go, oh, wait a second. This is just like Trudeau, only on overdrive. And of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Mark Carney was the economic advisor to Trudeau since at least 2020. Formerly since 2020. His fingerprints are all over. His fingerprints are all over the Trudeau policies. That's why Carney's policies, at least what he's told he's going to do, is exactly the same, just more. Because it was him all along. The reason that they didn't want to show us a budget is because they knew that we would hate it. Let's hear what he has to say here.
There'll be a budget in the fall. In the short term, it's a very short parliamentary session that is coming up. The speech from the throne is on the 27th, as people know. The House is due to rise under the House's rules by the 20th of June. So it's really 3 weeks. We have some very...
Just think about that. We haven't had a functioning parliament, basically a functioning government since November. Months and months and months. All right, and now they're going to be 3 weeks, and then they're off for the summer again. Does it sound like this guy's really serious? Is that he couldn't get it done? He's going off to see the Pope. He's going off on trips, but he can't do a budget? I thought this guy was supposed to be hyper competent. I thought this guy was supposed to be a genius. Are you saying he couldn't get that done? Are you saying that he couldn't have said, you know what? Nobody's going on vacation until we get a budget. Nobody's off until we get a budget. He could have done that. This is not looking good. This is not looking like the guy that was advertised to credulous, smooth-brained Canadians. That was enough to convince them to vote for this, for the globalist technocrat hobgoblin that is Mark Carney. It's kind of depressing. Kind of depressing. It's not good news for Canada. Let's see. Warning from the Bank of Canada, 60% of Canadians will face much higher mortgage rates over the next 12 months. Job losses could spike, defaults may surge, liquidity could dry up, making credit hard to access. When the Bank of Canada provides a warning, this could get ugly. This could get ugly. But thank God, Parliament's going to be back for 3 weeks, where they're not going to do anything before taking the summer off. And then at some point in the fall, we'll get something that they're going to call a budget. So, yeah, Canada's not in great shape. Not going well. You know, I warned about all this, by the way. You guys know that. I warned that he was not what the CBC was selling. From the buck you will. Says a sobering perspective. So this is Sam Cooper. He's a journalist. He does a lot of work on foreign interference in Canada, especially from China. And there's a lot. Quote, the differences between Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney. Trudeau pushed the globalist agenda because he was told to, yes, by Mark Carney. Carney pushes the agenda because he helped write it. Check out his book. That will remove any doubt from your mind. I don't know. Canada is in trouble. All right. From Mark Nixon. Mark Carney just announced there will be no budget until the fall. Why? Because Parliament is on vacation during summer. He is in Rome shaking hands with the Pope. He had a choice. Cancel the trip, cancel the budget. Guess which one he picked? Well, he picked canceling the budget, obviously. It's not Canada's not a serious country. There he is. You should be working. You're supposed to be working right now. Not that that's good either. Not that him working is good either, right? That's also bad. It's just all bad options right now for Canada. Whatever happens, bad. All right. Let's see. From Mark Nixon again, it's been only 1 week since cabinet was sworn in. Justice Minister wants to work remote with kids. That is the same Justice Minister. So he was at Minister of Immigration during the flood of millions of people into the country, which has been really at the root of all of Canada's problems. That's the main issue. Right? He just flooded the country with millions of people that the economy, that the infrastructure just simply could not handle. They should have known this. They should have known. There should have been somebody doing logistics saying like, okay, this is how many places to live there are. This is how many homes there are. This is how many hospital beds there are per thousand. This is how many police there are per thousand. This is how many, seats in a school there are. Apparently none of this was done. Country flooded with recklessly flooded with millions of people, and now we have all of the problems, especially the housing problems that we have. Let's see. Housing minister wants home prices to go up, so that's great. They might have mentioned that before the election. Let's see. PM gave us zero budget, nothing to the fall, if we even get it then. But hey, we got a handshake with Zelensky. How much is that handshake going to cost Canadians? How many billions? Let's see. How many times did they shake there? Let's watch that again. It's probably $1 billion per shake. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, $8 billion. $8 billion handshake there. That's all that it costs Canadians. Let's see. Mark Carney is obviously going to send a bunch of money to that man. He is very committed to that. He's let us know that absolutely Canada is going to continue to borrow money that interest will have to be paid on to send around the world for things that don't affect Canadians. Hold on one second. I just want to bring up one of my precious bookmarks that has important information that liberals do not want you to see. But you'll see it. You'll see it. When you watch Radio Baloney, you're going to see it. Where is it? I haven't even updated this one in a while. Probably should. All right. So let's see. Well, of course, we have the billions wasted on the EV industry, but Let's see, the foreign spending. Hold on. All right, so here we go. Canada pledges nearly 100 million for Palestinians in Gaza. Because definitely whatever we send there doesn't just get stolen by Hamas. Definitely not. So there's $100 million borrowed that interest will have to be paid on to send there. Let's see. Canada's giving $3.8 million to help the Lebanese armed forces update their mountain warfare ski school to allow for multi-gender occupancy. So it says here, maintenance building. 3.8 million. This is real. I looked this up. It's on the government website. That's real. Let's see. So this is stuff. Yeah, this is all stuff since Mark Carney has been the Liberal leader. This is stuff that, you would think that when you get into the job, maybe he would say, put any spending, foreign spending, past my desk before it goes out, just to make sure it's not an idiotic thing from Trudeau. It turns out, though, that Mark Carney liked all the idiotic things Trudeau did because he told them to do it. How about this? Syrian people, 84 million in humanitarian aid. Syria was taken over by a terrorist group. The leader used to be in Al-Qaeda. He was involved with ISIS. He has committed atrocities himself. So this is 84 million in terrorism aid. I know they put a suit on the guy and they trimmed up his beard, but I'm not buying it. Let's see. There was 11 billion on gender programs. Let's see this one here, 272 million to Bangladesh to fill in U.S. aid gap for USAID to fill that in. Intersectional democratic spaces in Bangladesh, gender responsive and inclusive. I say that intersectional democratic spaces in Bangladesh is none of Canada's business. It's certainly none of the Canadian taxpayers' business. Why? It's because people like Carney, people like Trudeau, people like Carney don't care about the people they govern. Right? Nothing could be clear. Mark Carney is a self-described globalist, elitist globalist, right? Justin Trudeau told us that Canada is some sort of post-national nothing with no core identity, right? We might as well just be whatever anybody who shows up 5 minutes from now is. Right? These are not people who have a love of country. These are globalists. They have global interests. They have globalist interests. That's why they like to hang out in Davos with people who agree with them. Right? Mark Carney does not care the financial disaster that he's causing in Canada. He does not care. He cares about his global net zero plan, his global financial net zero plan. That's what he cares about. He cares about extracting as much money out of Canada to feed into subsidizing green boondoggles as possible for himself, for his own ego and his own financial interest. These people don't care. If you say that your country is not even really a country and has no core identity, you don't like your country. You're not a patriot. And he's committed to more boondoggles like the maintenance shed in Lebanon. I mean, that's one reason he doesn't want people to see the budget. All right. Anyway, let's continue.
Clear priorities, which, as you know, from following those who followed the campaign, those who followed my remarks, those who followed my opening press conference, would include the federal government taking all the steps it can to help create one Canadian economy out of 13, in addition, initiatives such as the middle class tax cut. But there will be a budget in the fall.
Abigail Beeman, CT.
And that's just supposed to be okay? Just word salad, and excuses, and then that's just supposed to, like, you're running a country now. He does not care, though. This is all about his green boondoggles, his G-fans, his global, climate finance alliance, his Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. It's not about Canadians. He does not care. He's a globalist. He cares about himself and his globalist friends. All right, let's move on. Okay, I was ranting about this. Then I go on. Did I then go off onto a completely different rant? Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah. So I was talking about each time he shakes his hand, there's $1 billion. And then I went to show you the liberal spending, how much Mark Carney absolutely intends to throw away Canadians' money on foreign boondoggles, basically foreign grift. Because is that money really for the Lebanese mountain warfare ski school maintenance shed? Would anybody even know if the maintenance shed didn't get built? Was the whole thing just made up from the start? Let's say, tell them that, this will be funny. Tell them that we have like a mountain ski warfare base and we need $4 million for a maintenance shed. I guarantee you they'll fall for it. I think we all deeply suspect or just know that most of the money that he's going to be throwing out for, let's see, which was, we know for sure that the $84 million to Syria is not going to be used for humanitarian aid. That's just going to get stolen, right? The $272 million to Bangladesh for intersectional democratic spaces in Bangladesh, like they have, I don't even know what that means. They're not going to know. I think places like Bangladesh have kind of made up their mind on stuff like intersectionalism and feminism and gender responsiveness a long time ago. They're not interested. No thanks. But you can send us the $272 million because we could use some more mansions and Rolls Royces. I mean, come on. How credulous do you have to be to believe that $272 million is anything but a scam? Oh yeah, that's really gonna promote intersectionalism. That's really gonna promote intersectional democratic spaces in Bangladesh. It'll finally give them a chance. This is gonna be, yeah. Anyway, I don't buy it. I think it's stupid. I don't believe it for a second. So he's going to give a bunch of money to that guy, which is all going to get stolen or wasted in some way. And he'll be happy. And the people who take the money will be happy. And nobody else will be. What else we got going on? Actually, hold on. Was there anything else about this gargoyle that we wanted to talk about? Let's see. All right, now let's move on. So here we go. From Brian Lilly, the cops did step in to stop this. This is good. So good for the officers. Using those smoke things to harass people on a patio because the cafe has Israeli roots. It's in Canada. It's in Toronto. These people really need to piss off. I preferred when Gaza wasn't in Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal or anywhere in Canada. Why did we need this? Why do we need this again? Right? This is that wonderful diversity we've all been sold. So they're just harassing people because they're at a restaurant with Israeli roots. Like, this is Canada. You're not supposed to be able to do that. And at some point, can you say that these people do just hate Jews? I mean, if you're going to the point of trying to intimidate and harass people just for being at a business in Toronto, I mean, this isn't the IDF. These are just people. They're just people that are going for something to eat, right? At some point, you have to say, okay, these are just maniacs, right? Let's take a look. This is illiberal party Canada. Cops do nothing. So these people get to just have the run of the country, do whatever they want, harass whoever they want, intimidate whoever they want. They can do whatever the hell they want because diversity, I guess. I don't know. Is that guy a citizen? In my mind, I just kind of wonder how terrible would it really be if they just got him and then put him on a plane and sent him to Gaza. Like, I'm thinking that as bad as it might be for him, a big win for Canada. Like, we didn't used to have this. We don't need this. We don't want this. We don't want these ancient feuds, blood feuds in Canada. It's supposed to check that stuff. It's supposed to check that stuff at the door. Instead, now, because we're liberal, because we're a progressive country now, apparently, it's all encouraged. Just do whatever. Whatever's the worst thing for the country, for the people in the country, just do that. Just do that. Make sure you vote for Carney. TV said that he was great. And TV said that Pierre Poilievre was mean because conservatives are mean and stuff. So make sure you vote for Carney. You can get more of this cultural enrichment. I cannot believe that enough people, that 43% of the country voted for more of this, to put us through more of this. Anyway, still, I'm having like flashbacks to election night, just constantly. This is Toronto. Nobody voted for this. Although, sorry, no, if you voted Liberal in the last election or voted NDP or Liberal in the last election, you did vote for this now. So now you did. Those people did vote for this. You know, if we end up with, I don't know, we've got an economic genius running the country, but he doesn't actually seem to know what he's doing or really care about the country very much. So, I don't know, when we get like 20% month-on-month inflation, maybe they'll start to care. Maybe the people who voted for this will start to care. I don't know. Maybe some more people will find the line. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Like, are we just San Francisco now, where there doesn't appear to be a line? It just doesn't matter. Just the word conservative, whatever is behind it, just the word conservative is just such a dirty word. It's just so distasteful that people would rather just live in filth than do something that would be politically incorrect in their bubble. Oh, maybe Canada's there. What do we need for the next election? I mean, if the NDP really is kind of done now, if they're reduced to permanently, 5, 6, 7%, well, then that would mean that we'd really need to win over probably at least 4 or 5% of the people that of voters that, we'd have to go from 42 to at least 46, 47% to get a conservative government. And even then, maybe not a majority government. Is that possible? Maybe. I'm not black-pilled on it. I always have hope, but it is an uphill climb at this point. After witnessing almost 44% of the country voting for a repeat of the Trudeau years, I don't know. I mean, that's enough to make you a little bit cynical, I will say. Though I'm not black-pilled yet. All right. What else we got? Here's one thing. DK posted this. In Florida, this is perfectly legal if you're in your car and surrounded by protesters. This is probably a big reason why we don't have protesters blocking roadways in Florida anymore. Governor DeSantis signed the bill in April of 2021. Well, I want to say this. This was most by protesters versus cars. Let's see. So, okay. My feeling on this is if your car is surrounded by lunatics, you should be able to drive through them, period. So I agree with the Florida law. I agree with DeSantis on that. I think it's really simple to me. This is a no-brainer. Let's see. If far-left lunatics surround your car right? Say it's like a mom with a couple of young kids in the back, and far left lunatics surround your car on the highway. Okay, I'm giving the thumbs up to driving right the fuck through them. Of course. No, there's no charges. There's no investigation. Just what happened? Oh, so far left lunatics surrounded you and your children in your car and you drove through them. Okay, fine. Good. You did the right thing. That is the right thing to do, by the way. That is exactly the right thing to do. If you're getting these people are on highway, if you're going onto a highway and doing that, it should enter your mind that perhaps somebody might get scared and drive through you, right? I don't know. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to predict. Like, how entitled do you have to be to think, yeah, I'm gonna go on a highway and terrify people. I'll terrify this old couple in their car, and nothing bad will definitely happen to me. It's rather insane, actually. I mean, if you're stupid enough to go and do that, I just think whatever happens to you, that's your own fault. That's just Darwin. So, of course, in Canada, you'd probably get 50 life sentences for doing that, but I don't know. Let's see, what else we got going on here? Let's just, let's move on. Let's go back to the chat for a second. All right. What's going on? Oh, we got lots of chat going on now. Let's see. Man, okay, there's a lot of chat to go through here. All right. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot going on here. Okay. Turtle says Stephen Hawking went to Epstein's Island and had midgets erase his chalkboard naked. I had a video that got just nuked from YouTube about Hawking. And the funny thing is I was saying in the video that I was defending Hawking, right? I was saying, okay, so Epstein had so he had his island, but he was deeply involved in funding science and all kinds of things. And what was that for? Maybe foreign intelligence? I don't know. But he would have events for scientists and people like Stephen Hawking. So it wasn't all the worst things imaginable. He was doing legitimate things too. And he had Hawking at one of these things, right? And I said, Stephen Hawking wasn't in any orgies, right? That would literally kill him. Getting out of his wheelchair, would kill him, right? He has passed away now, but there's just no way. There's no point in it. There's no part in it that he could take part in, right? And I just found it. I know you're joking about the midgets. The thing is, I was defending him, and that got me nuked off of YouTube. My video just nuked, just gone. No appeal, no nothing, just gone. No, you can't say that Stephen Hawking wasn't having orgies on Epstein Island for some reason. I don't know. Let's see. Rosie says, knowing more than anyone is not the most important thing. Stephen Hawking may be the most knowledgeable physicist, but do you really want him to repair your elevator or build your staircase? You do not. All right. Oh, there's a lot of chat now. All right. What are you guys saying? Well, I'm not going to go back any further. So JJ Nevada says, Ford sucks. Ford gonna stick it to Trump. Yeah, that didn't happen. Let's see. Nevada says, two-faced politician. I bet commie Carney smells like sulfur. Stinking commie POS. Stinking commie. POS. So I know a lot of people are going to agree with that. Let's see. Ottawa James, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Nevada said, I just went off on a rant of my own. Was that a chat rant? It was a chat rant. It was good. Let's see. Izzy says, True China got his basic dictatorship. He did. He told us how much he appreciated, how much he admired China's basic dictatorship, and he wasn't kidding. Let's see. Let's see. Ottawa James is not a Leafs fan, is a Sens fan, so you'd be happy with what happened tonight. The Leafs are pathetic, I have to say. They gave their fans a bit of hope in Game 6 and then just laid another egg, which was actually entirely predictable. Yeah. I feel bad for the Toronto fans. I do. Let's see. Ottawa James says, our government makes me sad. Well, they're also going to make you poor if they have their way. Let's see. Maybe we'll get an early election. Who knows? They keep having those recounts that somehow just keep going to the Liberals somehow. I don't know how that works out. Nevada says, all governments suck, but the smaller they are, the better. Streamer says, I actually love our Constitution, not our government. Strange that. I wish Canada had a Constitution worth the paper it was written on. That'd be great. Let's see. Rosie asks, how many genders must one have for Border Patrol housing? Infinite. Infinite is the answer. Nevada says, I'm a real liberal. I like less government and more freedom. Well, that's what liberal was, right? Like if you go back, 100 years to like the Russian Revolution, the liberals were the ones who like wanted free markets and they wanted a liberal democracy. Let's see. Like free speech, all of that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot of people calling themselves liberals now who aren't. They are illiberal. They are authoritarian leftists. All right, I'm going to skip to the end of the chat here because there's a lot. Oh, wait a second. What's going on? Well, Jack985 gifted a membership to Izzy. This is a beautiful thing. You know what's coming, right? You know what's coming. You know what that means. Best person ever. Jack985 is now officially the best person who's ever lived, right now or at any point in time, and for less than the cost of a latte at Wokebucks. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? It's got to be worth it. Thank you. Thank you. And everybody should thank Jack for helping out the channel. Much appreciated. Very well done. Very well done. It also appeals to my grade, which I love. It's my best quality. Let's see. Let's see. Turtle's S is True China. Having tea with Harris. I assume so. I've been saying for a long time that I thought that Justin Trudeau and Kamala Harris would have a lesbian relationship after he left office, so I still expect that to happen. Nevada says, turtles, commies hate each other too. They do. They all, the left is just a bunch of different interest groups that all actually hate each other. They just all agree that they hate anybody who's sane more. All right. Turtle says, Richie, where is the Canadian flag? I'd post that. Oh, because I set up ages ago. I set up some emoji things, didn't I? So yeah, I did it, and then I completely forgot about it. So I have to go ahead. Maybe I'll make a note for myself. Hold on, I'll write it down somewhere. Hold on. I should come up with a bunch more. You guys got any ideas for emojis? For the chat, I can add some stuff. It takes me a little while, but I can do it. Radio streamer says, Carney OnlyFans, G fans. Carney, I'm going to carbon tax you, baby. He is. He's saying he's going to do that. And, all right. Let's see. Okay, I got it, Jack. Anybody else? All right. All right. G fans, yes. All right. What are we doing now? Did we do all this already? Yes, I think. Oh, is there anything else? No, we're not going to watch that. Maybe the next thing, actually. Hold on. I already saw that. All right. Let's go to the Woke Mind Virus tab. So WDI USA, a woman in a Transformer shirt has just called us fascists for carrying a banner which reads that women are adult human females. They get really, really mad at reality. I think they hate reality more than anything. I have not watched this yet. I'll be watching this with you guys for the first time. Let's take a peek.
Me down, fascist, fucking. I don't give a fuck who you are. The fact that you feel this way makes you completely
Feel what way? Let's see. So, has a banner which reads that women are adult human females. So that is what makes you a fascist. So reality is what makes you a fascist, huh? Okay.
Immoral, intolerant of anybody. I don't care if you have a fucking master's degree. I don't care if you feel like you're tall and proud. Go fuck yourselves. This is absolutely fucking disgusting.
Do you know what is actually fascist? Collusion between media, institutions, business, and government. And let's see. Do we have that? Do you have that? Let's see. I mean, I guess if this is the States, her preferred party is not in power. But I mean, it's still, almost half the government, right? So I think it still counts. She would be the actual fascism supporter, obviously. I mean, believing in reality, like basic biology, is not fascist, right? It's just reality. It's just reality. Also, the aggression seems to be this. They're always so aggressive. That seems to go well. That seems to pair well with the propaganda and the collusion between media, business, industry, institutions, and politicians. It pairs nicely with that. If we're talking about fascism.
Disgusting. I can't believe you. And you can take your fucking Blue Lives Matter flag with you. You're welcome.
Just the worst, most delusional people. It's crazy. These are this is who, but for like the CBC, this is the perfect person. Right? This is like the perfect citizen for the CBC.
Nobody else, the fucking flags out front, nobody cares. Yeah.
This is just that when you see people like this, they are the embodiment of chaos, of the fall of civilization. Right? They are just the embodiment of that. if like a failed state could talk, it would say this. This is what it would sound like.
Everybody look away when it fucking matters, right? Everybody look the fuck away. Wave your flags all over Northampton, right? Yeah.
It's not even making sense. It's just gibberish. It's just chaotic gibberish.
Go. Bye-bye. Fucking human all over your chest. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Keep fucking telling yourself. Nobody, right?
We know the kind of society these people would build because they've done it. They've done it. Go to like the worst parts of like Vancouver or Toronto or Montreal. Go to San Francisco. Go to San Francisco. You will find the society that these people built. If you went to the CHOP, the Capitol Hill Autonomous or Chaz, sorry, the Chaz. I think they renamed it to CHOP or something. I don't know, but originally it was the Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. There's like several blocks that were taken over by lunatics like this, right? You can find the kind of society they will build. These people are the embodiment of chaos, rot, decay. There is nothing they have to offer for human well-being, for hope, just hope for humanity, for a brighter future. They have nothing to offer. All they offer is chaos and violence and decay. That's it. Seems pretty obvious to me. And by the way, for like the left-wing media, that's the perfect citizen right there. That's their perfect person. She's doing everything right, according to them. Total lunacy. Let's watch the end, see if she does that, runs up to them or something.
Fucking nobody, right? Nobody has a fucking problem with this. I'm the only fucking one. You believe it?
Don't worry, you'll be all over the internet.
I like how she's totally sane. That's my favorite part. I like the display of absolute emotional stability from her. Like it's used to be something that, I don't know, like people used to notice, like when somebody was mentally unstable, emotionally unstable, they used to say, that's not good. That's not good. All right, hold on. And of course, this person will be a communist as well. Every single time. So this is the horrible fascist sign. Let's see, from all of these fascists here, these budding fascists. Adult human females, class of 19XX. We remember when women were adult human females. That's it. That's the fascism right there. I didn't hear any of them becoming unhinged either, which is a strange thing. Huh. Almost like these are the sane people. Huh. Isn't that crazy? All right. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you go ahead and subscribe right now. Super important. Also, liking the stream. Liking the stream's a big deal. Everybody's doing it these days. Well, not everybody, but the cool people are. The mentally stable people are. The well-adapted people are. Subscribe and like, or you're a dirty, filthy commie. I don't know. Does that work? Just go ahead and do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, people. All right. What are you guys saying? Turtle says Seattle will be cleaned up if China comes to town. Well, yeah, they actually did manage to clean up San Francisco for a day because Chairman Xi showed up. Let's see. Izzy says uneducated, emotional nutbars that think they're better than you. See, when people displayed mental illness in the past, society tried to help them. They'd say, well, there's something wrong. Maybe we should do something about that. Now, look, the remedies in the past often worked terrible, but at least they recognized it and they thought, well, we'll do this. And, we're trying to help. It's probably going to be terrible, but, what's happening here isn't great already. So I wonder if like people like that were responsible for like the popularity in lobotomies in like the 50s. I'm not saying they should go back to that. They've already been lobotomized. I don't think it will do anything. Let's see. Well, yeah, you don't have to worry about them having kids, so they won't wreck any kids' lives. Let's see. As he says, yeah, they killed like 30 odd people in that lawless hellhole, as I recall, the Chaz. I don't think it was 30. I think it was like about 6 people over the course of like 4 weeks or something. I mean, just, Ottawa James asked a salient question here. Why are feminists so ugly? Why are they so ugly? I don't know. Is there some sort of correlation involved? I don't know. I'd probably have to get some sort of bullshit degree to answer the question. Nevada says, dude hears her screaming, looks at Banner, and just keeps walking. Yep. Spambot says, yes, remember when women did not behave like toddlers? Well, society didn't used to encourage mental illness. So if like somebody thought they were Napoleon, society would say, no, you're not. You got to fix that. Society doesn't need to change because you think you're Napoleon. You do. That's the thing, right? When you have a civilization, a society where it's incumbent on everybody to change for the most disturbed, deranged, unstable people in your society, because all of a sudden they're like the best amongst us, there's something wrong. That's destructive. You can't keep doing that forever. Otherwise, you won't have a society. Let's see. Let's see. Nevada says, I just don't want them to multiply. Yeah, and Raidership says, don't worry, they won't. They won't. They know we are overpopulated and our men repellent. Yeah, don't worry, they're not going to. They're totally against that. They think that like an abortion is a badge of honor. Not that, I mean, they're not even going to get pregnant in the first place, but all right, let's move on. I thought this was interesting. All right. From the Kobisi letter, President Trump's 4-day trip to the Middle East just raised $2.5 trillion in capital for the U.S. United Arab Emirates, $1.4 trillion. Saudi Arabia, $600 billion. Qatar, $500 billion. The combined value of these investments is larger than the market cap of all but 3 public companies in the world. This marks the largest foreign investment commitment ever raised by a president in U.S. history. So I don't think it was any secret you're going to see a foreign policy shift under Trump, that he doesn't want to blow more people up for no reason. Now, you've seen interventions you saw with the Houthis in Yemen, right? But there's not really any way around that. I mean, they have to keep, the Suez Canal open. They have to keep, because they have to keep, global trade, the sea lanes open. You can't allow just some rebels in Yemen to just shut down as important a trade route as that, because they sank a couple of ships, right? I mean, you just can't. The world just can't have that. And unfortunately, it falls upon the United States to enforce it. But with Trump, you're not going to see any forever wars started. He has no interest in that whatsoever. He wants to make deals. He wants to do what's good for the American people. You could say that it's short-sighted. You could say that there's risk involved. If you look at making deals, I mean, for instance, China. But China was weak. China was weak when it was brought into the, global financial trade family, essentially, right? And it's become a threat to the United States. It was predicted that it would make it a more open, free, democratic society. That hasn't happened. It's actually worse now. It's more totalitarian. That's partially to do with just stupidity on the part of the West, just recklessness on the part of the West. But I mean, you do risk that sort of thing, but there's risks that come with, I don't know, being in wars for decades, right? Forever wars. There's risks with that as well. So anyway, let's see what he has to say here. On top of this, Saudi Arabia signed an agreement with NVIDIA to purchase several 100,000 of its AI chips. Large cap tech is expanding to the Middle East, and Trump is looking to capitalize on it. Hold on. There's supposed to be a thread here. Hold on. Where is it? I had a long thread. Hold on. Is it in this one? Here we go. All right. So Carl Mehta, Trump's art of the deal just transformed Middle East politics. His $2 trillion deal spree revealed 3 commercial strategies the media missed completely. His Pakistan move left diplomats speechless. Since the media won't tell you, here's the real breakthrough. So I thought this was interesting. While media focus on personalities, they missed a fundamental shift in global politics. Trump is deploying commercial diplomacy, using business deals as foreign policy cornerstones. The results, a diplomatic earthquake. Well, integrating or further integrating economies together is kind of, I mean, one could say it's actually a form of empire. But when countries' economies are integrated together, I mean, that's a reason to not go to war. Now, China, they want Taiwan very badly, but the fact that they're very dependent on the American economy is something that holds them back, obviously, right? It's not that there's not risks involved, because, I mean, China has become the second biggest power in the world, and they're an absolutely dystopian totalitarian state. I don't think that's a good thing, frankly. It's made the totalitarianism stronger and more powerful there. But anyway, let's continue. Strategy number 1, deal making over dogma. Saudi Arabia, $600 billion investment with $142 billion military procurement. Qatar, $243 billion package with $96 billion Boeing order. So I know the left was making a big fuss about the, was it $400 million Qatar Boeing jet that was given to the U.S. government, not to Trump personally, the U.S. government. Well, I mean, yeah, they got a $96 billion Boeing order. So I don't really see the downside in any of this. UAE, $15.5 billion aircraft order plus AI data center. Numbers are striking. It's not just about dollars. These deals represent a complete reversal of decades-old foreign policy doctrine. Instead of military pacts or democratic values, Trump leads with commerce. This unlocks previously impossible partnerships. I think there are just some places that have decided that they're not going to let democracy in. They're not going to let democratic values in, and that's just the end of it. Most shocking example, Syria. Trump lifted all sanctions on Syria, unthinkable under traditional diplomacy. Why? Commercial opportunity and regional stability. This is disruption by design with enormous stakes. Business leaders, not career diplomats. Trump's team, Howard Lutnick, Stephen Witkoff, aren't traditional diplomats. They're business titans who understand markets and global commerce. The commercial background gives them a unique edge. They're deal makers, negotiators, and risk takers first. Foreign counterparts find themselves outmaneuvered in a world where economics trumps protocol. The old playbook is obsolete. Trump wants to make America rich, and he understands that other countries getting rich as well is a plus plus. It's good for everybody, and it's good for stability. Engaging problematic partners when economics makes sense. This is where Trump's Pakistan move shocked diplomats. Despite hosting 15 U.S. recognized terrorist groups, Trump entertained a zero tariff trade deal. So Trump is looking at these places and he's just thinking, what can I get? What can I get? We're not going to change them, right? Like Pakistan is not going to become New Hampshire. That is not going to happen. So what can we do that's actually useful? What makes this so controversial? It risks straining America's friendship with India, the world's third largest economy by purchasing power. Yet Trump signals that economic interests can override entrenched security concerns. So there is risk, right? I mean, you could say that this is short-term over long-term thinking, but the long-term thinking that already existed was not going well. So it seems there had to be some sort of dynamic, some sort of shift in the plan, in the geopolitical strategy. And there's always going to be risk in that. But if what you're doing isn't working, because when Trump got into office, a lot of problems around the world, lot of problems on the verge of World War III. So I think we can say not working. Time for a change. The China approach follows the same pattern. Despite being America's chief competitor, Trump secured a historic trade deal reducing tariffs. The message, even rivals can be partners when mutual profit is on the table. This approach carries undeniable risks, overlooking security for commercial gain, prioritizing short-term deals over stability, alienating traditional allies, empowering problematic regimes. The thing is that if your economy collapses, it doesn't matter. Like empire over anyway, and you're going to get attacked from every side immediately as soon as you're weak. You have to be strong. And when you've got, what is it now, $34 trillion debt? When your economy is increasingly built on a house of cards, the first priority is to get your own house in order, get your economic house in order. That is what Trump is doing. Yet the potential advantages are significant, driving job creation and economic growth, working with more partners, free from ideology, quickly adapting to global changes, enhancing leverage in regions dominated by rivals. What most miss, commercial diplomacy. Commercial diplomacy isn't just a strategy, it's a philosophical shift. It prioritizes tangible results over principles. Prosperity over ideology, deals over dogma. So I think that when he says it prioritizes tangible results over principles, I think really you could just say ideology there as well. I think that's what it really means. Because I think a lot of this is actually a principled take, right? It's it's cooperation over war, essentially, over World War III. The real test, implementation. Can these massive deals be fully executed? Will commercial gains lead to long-term security? Can America maintain global leadership through business ties alone? The answers will reshape global politics for decades. Something had to be done. I mean, just, jumping from one war to the next. It obviously, I think there's a point where you say that's not sustainable. It's immoral as well. So that's what he's doing. And I think it's been pretty popular with the American public so far, hasn't it? I mean, people don't want just pointless wars all the time for no reason. All right, let's check out the chat again. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, in Biden's case, I don't care about elder abuse. He was evil long before he lost what little of his mind he had to begin with. Well, this is what I've always contended. He was always a bad guy. Case in point, and this has nothing to do with politics. This is a guy who refused to acknowledge his own beautiful little granddaughter because the mother was she was a stripper or something that was dating Hunter Biden. So it was considered, I guess, embarrassing. So he refused to acknowledge his own little granddaughter until he was forced to, until he was shamed into it. Just think about that. As a test for a man, he failed that. That's a basic test. But your own grandchild? I mean, come on. That's not a good person. That's a very bad person. That tells you everything you need to know about what kind of a person Joe Biden is. Ottawa James says, I wish Canada had a Trump. Well, I mean, the thing is, Trump's a singular figure. And Canada's a different country. But I wish that Canada's leader had the principles of a Trump, which is likes Western civilization, wants to double down on Western civilization, does not want everybody to hate themselves, does not want to pretend we're guilty of crimes that we're not guilty of, and whose first interest is for the people of Canada. And obviously has sanity around markets, that sort of thing. Taxes, obviously economics. But those are the two things. I mean, that's Trump-like. First and foremost, you care about the people who elected you. You're not worried about the world, the well-being of the world. You're worried about the world in terms of foreign policy, that sort of thing. But your main concern, your only real concern, is for the well-being of the people who voted for you. That's it. Not being masochistic, not believing in managed decline, doubling down on Western civilization, because the criticism of Western civilization, settler colonists, and blah, blah, blah. Justin Trudeau said Canada is a genocide state, has an ongoing genocide. I mean, these things are insane. They're lunacy. Somebody who says, no, this is what we've created here is the pinnacle of human achievement, and it's not even close. The pinnacle of human well-being, and it's not even close. That's what I want. That would be Trump-like to me. You don't have to be brash. You don't have to pretend to be Trump. You don't have to talk like Trump. You just have to have those basic foundations. No, we deserve to thrive. Right? We're also important. It's not just, our first priority is not sending money to Bangladesh for intersectionalism that they don't want there anyway. Let's see. What else we got? What's going on? Welcome, 8-Bit Gamer. How you doing? Let's see. What else we got going on in the chat here? Turtle says, my biggest hero is Jesse. He just fixed my new bike. Off topic. That's a big deal. Big deal. Ottawa James says, yeah, Biden was a POS. He was just a bad person. Let's see. All right. JJ Nevada says a Canada first type. Yes, exactly. Mark Carney has made it clear he is explicitly not a Canada first guy. He's a world globalist interest guy first. He's made that very, very clear. All right. All the elbows up stuff was bullshit. All the patriotism was bullshit. Really, the guy who's barely lived in Canada? By the way, his wife's still living in New York, for God's sakes. His wife and kid are still living in New York. This is the guy who just loves Canada. Sure it is. Sure. Maybe he would spend some time here if he did. Let's get to the last tab of the evening. So what's going on here from Kekius Maximus? That's Elon Musk. He changed it back to Kekius Maximus. I don't know. The left gets really mad at Elon Musk. I know he's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. He's pretty good, though. He's pretty good. X is much better than it used to be. It basically saved free speech on the internet. Okay, that's pretty impressive. The left likes to say that all this stuff is childish. It's childish. They don't like it. I don't know. What's childish? Believing in that there's that gender is an infinite series of abstractions? That literally everything is make-believe? If you can imagine it, it's real? That seems kind of childish to me. But in any case, I think it's funny, and I love it.
Elon Musk does have a security clearance. He has a top secret security clearance. By God, he makes the rockets for NASA. But the suggestion that he somehow can't be trusted to dig into how we're spending our money is nothing but a smokescreen to hide the corruption and the wasteful spending that has occurred there. And I am personally offended at the left's continued references to 19-year-olds and 21-year-olds in there doing work. There are 19-year-olds who have won the Medal of Honor defending this country. Just because you're 19 doesn't mean you're some child who can't be trusted. It is offensive. And if you're 19 years old out there, 20 years old, and you're serving this country, by God, your service matters. Keep serving. We thank you for that. Elon Musk does have a security clearance.
It's weird how it was part of the infantilization of the West, but it's weird how they managed to turn like 25-year-olds into children, into children. Like, if you're 20, you're a man. You're a woman. If you're 25, I mean, you should have a family by that point. You should have kids already by that point. I did. I just squeaked it in there. But I mean, that was normal, right? Like 19, you're again, you could go off to war. You're a man. You're a woman. I don't think it's been very healthy for society because for one thing, it gets people started on their lives later. With less energy. You know, if you're starting, your family in your 30s, you've just got less energy than you did in your 20s. You do. Really, your 20s, instead of just being for partying, should be used to, these should be your most productive years, or some of your most productive years, say 20 to 40, right? This whole, again, it's part of the infantilization of the West. Treating people that are like 19, 20, 21, 22 as if they're children. They're not children. They're adults, right? They should be responsible. It would be good for them to say, no, you're not a child anymore. Act like a man. Act like a woman. That's what we used to do. That's what society used to do. They used to have those expectations. And guess what? They're good. They're good for people. Just like meritocracy is good for people. It makes them work. It makes them better themselves. Makes them do a better job. These are all good things. It's just leftist subversion. It just seems like the West went to sleep and just allowed all of this kind of zombie Soviet propaganda and active measures that all these seeds that were planted in the universities, in the media, in film, in Hollywood. All this stuff, while everybody was just asleep, all this stuff was just growing and taking over behind the scenes. And next thing you know, like a 24-year-old is like a child still. Or a 20-year-old is like a child still, that kid. No, this has been bad for the West. It's not like that in the rest of the world, by the way. I guess maybe it was just to like convince people that it's actually okay if children have to live in their parents' house until they're like 35 or 40 or just never leave. Oh, it's okay. They're children. That's just, that guy's barely 39. And thing is, it's better for people to have expectations placed on them at an early age. It's better for them. They're going to make less mistakes. They're going to do less stupid things. And you're going to have a more functional society. Let's see. Nevada says, but you can't drink or smoke. Well, it's 21 in the States, isn't it? It does seem kind of crazy to me. Let's see. Nevada makes a great point here. He says, effing commies.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yep. Ottawa James says 24 is adult. Yes. But so is really 18 should be adult. Let's see. JDL makes a great point. Hit that like, hit that like. Hit that like. All right. Talking about Elon Musk here. Where was this going again? I want to start this over again. Hold on.
Elon Musk does have a security clearance. He has a top secret security clearance. By God, he makes the rockets for NASA. But the suggestion that he somehow can't be trusted to dig into how we're spending our money is nothing but a smokescreen to hide the corruption and the wasteful spending that has occurred there.
Oh, that's right, because the dead people must stay on the Social Security rolls. They must stay on the roll. The dead people must stay on the voter rolls. It's just such a weird argument, right? No, the 200-year-old people must stay on the Social Security rolls. They must, for democracy or something. What a weird thing.
And I am personally offended at the left's continued references to 19-year-olds and 21-year-olds in there doing work. There are 19-year-olds who have won the Medal of Honor defending this country. Just because you're 19 doesn't mean you're some child who can't be trusted.
Yeah, so we already watched that too, yeah. In any case, I wanted to get that earlier part in. Let's move on. Glitch is coming soon, people. Are you excited? Glitch is coming soon. When the glitch hits, don't forget, it only takes a second to fix it. Stay where you are. Don't leave. This is Mara Gay. So this is posted by Maze Moore. This is Mara Gay. She is a member of the New York Times editorial board. Huh, that's impressive. I wonder if she's an imbecile. The top clip is Mara attempting to do math. The bottom clip is Mara last June claiming that Trump, not Biden, is unfit for office. Interesting. Mara may not be the brightest bulb, but she does have crazy eyes. They all do. Let's see. So what's going on here? Let's take a look at this. Hold on.
But you see it as
actually, hold on. Let's make this bigger.
As a possibility, if he wants to spend $1 billion beating this guy, he could do it.
Absolutely. Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
Yeah, incredibly idiotic. Let's see, 500 million on ads. Population is 327 million. He could have given each American 1 million. He could give 500 Americans 1 million. And then there would not be any money left over. That would be all of it. Because I'm not retarded. Right? I know that because I'm not these people. Both of them. Wow. But I suspected that the teleprompter readers were dumb, but yeah, they really are. They really are. Let's hear that again.
He could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500.
It all became clear when he read it. It all became clear.
$100 million on ads, U.S. population 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American.
They probably should have told you they're ahead of you on the math. You probably should have just asked anybody. Hey, does this make sense? It doesn't.
$1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing.
Well, it's also true that if you actually did give everybody $1 million, a loaf of bread would be about $100,000. So, yeah, that's also true. And what's going on at the bottom here?
It does suggest, what we're talking about here, which is
I actually missed the glitch there. How long was it? How long was it off for? Normally we have it in like 2 seconds. How long was the glitch? How long did the glitch last there? It couldn't have been too long. Tell me when it was, because we might have to watch that video over again. Somebody tell me in the chat. How long was the glitch? .3 seconds. Good. Okay, great. So you guys didn't miss anything. So let's watch this. Let's continue. Izzy says, how did this get broadcast without being called? Spambot says, I had my stopwatch waiting. Good. That was a fast glitch. 1 second, Nevada says. 2 seconds, Izzy said, good. I caught it. So we didn't really miss anything. We don't need to start all over again. So let's watch on the bottom now. So this is the woman who was very proud, who apparently had time to figure out from the time when that tweet went out to the time she came on the show that you can't give $1 million to everybody in the States if you have $500 million. What did she say at the bottom here?
there's too much money in politics. Biden isn't as young as he once was. And I think that is actually the acknowledgement that then allows you to differentiate between someone being older and someone being unfit. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why we haven't seen more distinction in that. Yeah, he's older. That doesn't mean that he is unfit. In fact, if you actually listen to his speeches and you look at his record, he's been a very effective president. Mm-hmm.
So it's a good thing that the propagandists are this incompetent. It's actually a good thing. You want them to be this stupid, right? You want them to be this incompetent. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. You don't want them to be too good at being, you don't want them to be too smart because they'll be too effective. All right. What do we got next? J.D. Vance shuts down reporter and shows them why he was the best choice for VP. Posted by Sunny Boy here. I remember when he was first chosen, I thought it was a bit of a letdown, and boy, was I wrong. He's fantastic. Every interview over in Europe, chastising them for becoming basically authoritarian leftists. That was beautiful. Challenging them on free speech. Beautiful thing. He's doing a great job. He really was the perfect choice. Let's watch this.
Is a housing crisis, is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction workforce in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large portion are undocumented. So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a fair question because we know that back in the 1960s when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses. But of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, in service of a point, Lulu, the assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes. I think, again,
the country is much bigger.
The
need is much bigger. I mean, I'm not arguing in favor of illegal immigration. I'm asking how you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy.
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime age men who have dropped out of the labor force, and you have a smaller number of women, but still millions of women prime age who have dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could re-engage folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
To work in construction?
Of course you could.
I
So
mean,
long as you
the
so
unemployment
long
rate
as
is
you-
4.1%.
but
Most
the
people who
unemployment rate, Lulu, this is important.
But
The
most people who
unemployment-
don't work can't work in the regular economy. They're in the military, they're parents, they're sick, they're old. They might not want to work in construction.
The unemployment rate does not count labor force participation dropouts. And again, this is one of the really deranged things that I think illegal immigration does to our society, is it gets us in a mindset of saying we can only build houses with illegal immigrants when we have 7 million, just men, not even women, just men who have completely dropped out of the labor force. People say, well, Americans won't do those jobs. Americans won't do those jobs for below the table wages. They won't do those jobs for non-living wages, but people will do those jobs. They will just do those jobs at certain wages. And think about this from the perspective of an American company, okay? I want them to go searching in their own country for their own citizens. Sometimes people who may be struggling with addiction or trauma, get them re-engaged in American society. We cannot have an entire American business community that is giving up on American workers and then importing millions of illegal laborers. That is what we have thanks to Kamala Harris's border policies. I think it's one of the biggest drivers of inequality. It's one of the biggest reasons why we have millions of people who've dropped out of the labor force. Why try to re-engage an American citizen in a good job if you can just import somebody from Central America who's going to work under the table for poverty wages? It is a disgrace, and it has led to the evisceration of the American middle class.
I just find it so astonishing, the institutional and really just ideological opposition to any solution other than you have to flood your country with people from the third world. For the left, that's just a solution to everything, right? You need, you've got a housing shortage. Flood your country with third worlders, low-skilled workers, right? There's a drug epidemic. Flood your country with third worlders. They, unskilled third worlders. They can be unskilled nurses for you or something. I don't know. Just anything, just whatever the problem is. Inflation. Oh, you have to flood the country with third world people. Whatever it is, that's their solution to everything. It really just starts to feel like maybe it's just about something else at the end of the day, isn't it? It's purely ideological. JD Vance is making a great point. They somehow, society survived and in fact thrived before they flooded the country with millions of people illegally, with millions of illegal immigrants. Somehow the United States managed to thrive. Perhaps it's not that much of a stretch that it can be done, because you know that it can be done. You know you can fix your problems, the problems that your country has, without flooding it with millions of people from the third world. Like, they already did it. You can do it again. The answer to every problem does not have to be, well, we need millions of people from the third world. Just let them in. We don't even want to know who they are. It's surreal. I mean, when I see stuff like this, again, I say it all the time, but it's like alternate universe stuff. Like, there are so many things that are so batshit crazy now that have just become like institutional philosophies. It's hard to believe. I mean, clearly, you can do the things you need to do for your civilization without flooding your country with millions of people from the third world. You can do it. It's been done. You can do it again. But these people like her, I mean, it's ideological. It's and nothing will ever change her mind, by the way. This interview with JD Vance will never change her mind. No. The only solution is that millions of people from the third world. All right. What's this? So from American AF, let's check out some comedy. Let's take a look here.
You have some white people.
It was minorities that were the most resistant to the shots, but they didn't get picked on by the media for some reason. I don't know why that is. At least, in Canada, it was absolutely portrayed as it was just a bunch of evil far-righters, probably white supremacists. Probably Putin had something to do with it as well. Because it didn't go with the narrative. What's going on here? When your new table is cat-proof. So this cat's very, very upset. It's almost cruel. It's like, no, that's supposed to be on the floor. That goes on the floor. With the tissue paper and with this and that too. They all go on the floor. Everything goes on the floor, not on tables. It's wrong. Yeah, it's almost cruel, actually. I feel for that cat. All right, how about this? So here's Dave Landau. He's funny. This is from CCP is asshole. He's from Detroit, so let's hear him talk about it.
What I love about Detroit is we have our own anthem, which is Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Not even a band from Detroit. We have Motown, The Temptations, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, White Stripes, Eminem. We go with Journey. So anytime you're in a bar or a restaurant, you hear the line, just a city boy, and everybody screams, born and raised in South Detroit. But the very next line to that song is he took the midnight train going anywhere. That means anywhere on earth other than Detroit. How's that for hometown pride? Hey, where's this train going? Who gives a shit? It's midnight in Detroit. 2 tickets that way, please. Leave the baby. He can't keep up. We'll make a new one when we get anywhere.
I was disappointed when he left Crowder. He was very good on that. There's a bunch of clips. I think there's still a bunch of clips on like YouTube anyway. Maybe on Rumble as well of him on with Cumia, Anthony Cumia, which is good. Let's see. From Juanita Broderick. Dog accidentally attends news interview. All right, let's check this out. So I guess somebody else, a person was supposed to be on the other side of that camera, but it was the dog.
Look at that dog.
That would have cracked me up too. That's impossible. That would be impossible not to laugh. It's just the dog. It's the perfect face for a dog to do that as well. Just look at the dog's face. Oh, classic. All right. We already covered the Palm Springs thing. So, do you guys remember this? 30 years ago today on May 17th, 1995, I think I had like the vaguest memories of this. Army veteran Sean Nelson managed to steal an M60A3 tank and go on a 6-mile rampage through San Diego, California. Nelson was a local celebrity before the incident. He was known for mowing his lawn in the middle of the night. Well, that would make you a celebrity. Also hated. And also dug a 20-foot pit in his backyard looking for gold. On the evening of May 17th, 1995, Nelson drove his truck and parked at the local California Army National Guard Armory. He then started breaking locks on the tanks before hopping inside the 60-ton tank. For the next 30 minutes, Nelson damaged bridges, fire hydrants, and traffic lights, destroyed 40 cars, and left 5,100 households with no electricity. Not a single person was injured. After becoming stuck, San Diego police climbed on top of the tank, opened the hatch, and shot and killed Nelson. Look at these carrying along a trap. So this is just one of those. So this is just one of those people who just is different. Let's just say they're just different. Like the guy who built his own tank, like out of like concrete or something. There's some people that are just different. And yeah, this is totally insane. Why would you do this? You got to figure that after this, I mean, there's nothing else going on. Like you're done after this, one way or another. Yet occasionally there are people who just they just want to go out in a blaze of glory. Let's take a look. You know, there's like a there's like a temptation to make these guys like into folk heroes, especially because nobody was actually injured other than him. But you see what he's doing. Like he's driving over cars and like into RVs and destroying them. It's kind of a miracle nobody got hurt. There could have been in those cars, there could have been kids waiting in the back seat for their parents who were inside or something. Like he so easily could have killed a bunch of people doing this. You know, I mean, this is it's not that nobody died because he was being very careful and conscientious. No, like it almost seems like he's trying to kill people. I'd say it's a miracle that he didn't. So yeah, I say not a folk hero, in my opinion. Let's see. So, all right. Did we do all the woke mind virus stuff? Did we do all of it? I think we did. Yeah. Okay. So this could have got into the woke mind virus file. Oli London posted this. A gigantic transgender man speaks at a pro-Palestine rally in the UK. Quote, I stand before you all as a proud Kashmiri trans Muslim woman. I'm disabled, and this state, the UK, hates that. I wonder if it hates him more than, let's see, Kashmir might hate him. I wonder if it hates him more than literally anywhere in the Muslim world hates him. My only question is if he were to go to like Gaza or just anywhere in the Middle East, like, do they throw him off the roof or does he throw himself off the roof? That's the only question. Let's hear. Now, so this one I'm undecided actually, whether this is parody, like this guy's really bought in. We've seen this guy before. I've shown you him before. I'm certain he was not dressed as a woman the other time. He was in a wheelchair, but he was saying that he was a woman. And we were wondering at the time, like, is it parody? Is it satire? Or is it real? Does it really believe this? I still don't know. It could be. It's difficult because leftism, modern leftism, is indistinguishable from parody, from satire. So, I mean, it's basically like watching, sketches from like In Living Color in the 90s or Mad TV or something. Back when when comedians were allowed to be funny still on TV.
I stand before you all as a proud Kashmiri trans Muslim woman. I'm disabled, and this state.
See, I feel like in that part, you're supposed to laugh. Right? Like that's supposed to be like a joke. You're supposed to laugh at that. It's supposed to be like a punchline. Anyway, let's continue.
Hates that this state has burned trans and disabled people to create a smokescreen to cover the further bodies that they are burning around the world. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Cardiff.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Cardiff. How can this not be comedy? I don't know.
Today, I stand and I march for the liberation of my people in the trans community, my people in the disabled community, my people in the Kashmiri community, to my beloved Palestinian people, to all of these people and the intersections that they represent, to meet me where I stand at the crossroads of so many places of suffering. We will,
at the crossroads of so many mental illnesses,
all be free, inshallah.
I don't know. Can it be real? Can it be real? Can it be real? I don't know.
Sorry.
I mean, it's obviously like a giant, like 6'5" bloke with a beard wearing a dress and high heels. I don't know. I mean, he's got a beard.
One thing about the multiple layers of suffering you experience as a multiply marginalized person, and one of the
multiply marginalized person. All right. And it's all society's fault.
Relations you have is that it is all manufactured. It is all manufactured by the greed of people at the top. It is all manufactured by the echoes of an empire that never really did disappear. It just removed its visible claws from the land that it occupied.
The British Empire was one of the greatest gifts to the world in world history. It did an enormous, in fact, you might say that nothing has ever done more good than the British Empire. Just banning slavery throughout the empire. Just that alone. Never mind building the infrastructure and the trade routes and everything. Anyway, let's continue.
So today I stand and I ask you, will you march with me against these farces of violence, against these manufactured instances of oppression created to separate us and divide us? Will you march with me?
Like my brain tells me, giant guy with beard wearing a dress and high heels. This has to be a joke. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Rationally, he has to be a comedian. He has to be putting these people on, right? But again, you can't tell anymore. The world is too crazy. Is this just a part of the left's attempt to kill satire? I don't know.
It's been a tough week, so I'm not going to keep talking for too long before we start marching soon. But I do want people to remember the history, to remember that Kashmir was ripped apart a year before the Nakba happened. Our struggles have always been intersectioned. To remember that trans people are being used as fodder in a culture war to distract every member of this population from the genocides that this country and so many other countries are continuing to enact.
Zero genocides. It's zero genocides. Zero.
It is time for the people here to wake up. It is time for the people to realize that someone else's freedom, someone else's liberty does not push us down, that every single piece of liberty that we win is a win for all of us.
I don't know. What if you're just fucking bonkers? What if you're just nuts? How about that? Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe you're just a lunatic. Let's see. I want to show you my favorite part again. Let's see. Hold on. Was it back here somewhere?
Trans Muslim woman, I'm disabled, and this state hates that. This state has burned trans and disabled people to create a smokescreen to cover the further bodies that they are burning around the world. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Cardiff.
They're burning the trans and disabled bodies around the world. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Cardiff. It's shades of This Is Spinal Tap. That's why my brain refuses to accept that this person is acting in good faith. Because it can't be real. It can't be real. You can't have this much confusion about the world, right? Like, you can't believe that somehow you're in alliance, or that like Hamas is in alliance with you. Like, you can't believe that. That's just not, it's just crazy. Like, you're not welcome there. They've made that very clear. So I don't know. There's something very, maybe it's just the accent. There's something very This Is Spinal Tap about it. What's going on? Let's see. James says, looks like a linebacker. Radio streamer saying, man, I need some energy. Coffee isn't cutting it. If only a dancing minivan existed to give me energy. I know. I don't know about anything like that, though. Jeez. Nevada says, Radio, I'm feeling low on energy, too. Huh. Well, I don't know. I mean, me too as well. I'm also feeling a bit low on energy. I don't know where I could get that kind of energy from, though. I don't think anything packs that kind of a punch that could possibly give me the kind of energy.
Gave them energy. Gave them energy. Gave them energy. Gave them energy.
And teapot. I always do the teapot at home here in my studio. At the end there, I always do it myself. It wouldn't feel complete without doing that. Hand on hip. All right. There you go. I didn't want to do that. They forced me to. Let's see. Ottawa James says that's as bad as gays for Palestine or queers for Palestine. It's all the same thing. Izzy says, makes me want to steal a tank. Don't do it. Don't steal a tank. That is my advice to you. Let's see. All right. All right. What do we got next there? So Bill Maher, who will never change his voting patterns no matter what, but will complain about the people that he votes for endlessly. Bill Maher lays out the Trump doctrine. So let's hear what he has to say. All right. Says, he often speaks perfect sense, but then advocates for the people who do everything that he hates, because he's like a lot of like old school liberals who refuse to, even if they realize that the parties they're supporting, like if it's the Liberal Party in Canada or the Democrats in the States or Labor in the UK or something, they realize that these are no longer the same parties. They're the same in name only. Right? The Liberal Party in Canada is an illiberal, radical, authoritarian leftist party. Right? Democrats are the same. Labor's the same as well. So even though they know that the people they support actually represent things that they don't support, it comes down to political fashion, and it's just so ingrained in them that word conservative or Republican or whatever is just so distasteful. It's almost like Pavlov's dog, right? Like they just ring the bell. They hear conservative, and it has an effect on them. They just hear the word, and it just causes this sense of discomfort in them. And so they just keep voting for the thing that they hate over and over again. Let's take a look at this.
Now we have the Trump doctrine, which is, I think, as much of a departure as any doctrine a president has ever promulgated. Because what he is saying is, and I'll give you some of the quotes, is in the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built. This is his speech in Riyadh. Interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand. Now, I got to say, this is something people on the left said about Vietnam. Societies we did not even understand. We said it about Iraq. What are we doing here? But Trump is basically saying, we don't give a shit about what your morality is. And again, it's a hard one for people on the left to argue with because they're the ones who say America's so evil. So his doctrine is basically, you do you. We all love money. We all love money, and we're not going to lecture you or hector you anymore about your morals.
The lecture thing.
You want to cut off somebody's head, a reporter's head with a bone saw? You know, we all have our peccadillos. That's his doctrine.
I talked to someone in the Trump administration yesterday about all of this, and they said literally what you just said. They said, quote, this person, Trump isn't going over there to lecture. He's going over there to do deals. This person described it fully as realism. He's transactional. That's who he is.
That's who he is.
And again, maybe the American people will decide this. The international community will decide this. The blob might think about this. Like, do we care about abandoning the traditional morality of the United States, exporting our values overseas in service?
Here's the thing, is that they abandoned the morality of the United States, of the Western world, a long time ago, right? What are they exporting? Trudeau sent $11 billion to the third world to push gender theory, right? These are the people that are supposed to be against colonialism. Well, what is that exactly? What is that? You're trying to change their culture. That's colonialism, isn't it? Isn't that supposed to be a bad thing? And that's not what any of us would consider to be Western values. At least they shouldn't be. Right? Sending, far left, radical leftist ideas, radical leftist fantasies, these series of infinite abstractions, right? That's not actually Western values. It shouldn't be Western values. Right? So we're not exporting real values anymore. Sending over, $100 million to fight misinformation in Eritrean elections or something. Who has any confidence that they're trying to fight misinformation? That the Trudeau government is trying to fight misinformation? That the Trudeau government was interested in pursuing truth and objectivity? Of course not. It's just pushing bullshit. How is that not clear? I thought we're supposed to be against that. So I agree with the Trump doctrine. Not our business. Not our business. Gender neutral maintenance building in Lebanon is none of Canada's goddamn business. Anyway, let's continue.
Of good outcomes. It's a very interesting question.
It's a very reasonable question because the other way didn't really work. I mean, planting democracy in the Middle East was really, they gave a lot of reasons why we went into Iraq, but that was really what, they couldn't say it all the time, but Thomas Friedman would say it for them. We need to plant a democracy in the heart of the Arab world. And it didn't work because, you know what, you got to get rid of the religion. And they're not. That's not going to happen in our lifetimes before you can get to democracy. They don't care about the same things. Biden would not.
Yeah, funnily enough, after all that money, Afghanistan didn't turn into San Francisco. They said, thank you very much, but we'd prefer to live in the 7th century, right? After seeing that, after the stuff you guys told us, we've decided to just completely give up on the modern world. We're just going right back to the 7th century. Thank you very much. We've thought about it. We don't like it. Thank you. No, we're not interested. We'll call you. So, I don't know. I agree with this Trump doctrine. And leftists should agree with it. If they had any principles, of course, there is no principles, right? It's just whatever. It's just opposition to whatever the right is doing or conservatives doing or just sane people are doing, which is really what it comes down to. I think now the Western world is divided into just simply sanity and then radical leftism. And they appear to not have any principles whatsoever. It's just about power. It's just about what feels progressive. What the teleprompter tells them is progressive. That's it. So, will Bill Maher ever actually completely wake up? I'm saying no. Even though he often makes perfectly good sense. All right. Now what are we doing? Let's see. How about this? Doge News. In Los Angeles, some homeless individuals have been tapping into street light wiring to bring electricity to their tents. This is in Los Angeles. I think they have a problem. Let's see. This seems like it might be kind of dangerous and might cause the city to burn down, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe leftism isn't working. Maybe progressivism isn't working. I mean, this is genuinely third world shit right here, right? Why send your money to the third world when you can just turn your own country into it? This is total lunacy.
All right, downtown LA, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I see this cable going across the entire street over into this. And this is wired. Somebody busted into this telephone or this light pole and connected some sketchy wire. And this wire goes all the way across the street to there. It's so sketchy. All right, Doug.
Do you know what that is? That's empathy. That's compassion. That's compassion. That's empathy for the marginalized right there. That's exactly what that is. All right. Let's see. What do we got next? Oli London, mask-wearing Starbucks worker explains why she is going on strike. Is it because she's a dirty commie? Has totally unrealistic views of the world? Let's see. Let's take a look.
I'm Kash Patel. I've been a barista at the Lincoln Highway Starbucks here for a little over 3 years. We're out on strike today because Starbucks is trying to implement a new dress code. No one ever asked for a new dress code. They updated a dress code recently.
Nobody ever asked for a new. So she didn't ask for one. So what the hell do they think they're doing? What does that company that employs here think they're doing? They didn't even ask her if she wanted a new dress code. Can you believe that? Wow. What? How entitled Starbucks says. I mean, I don't even like Starbucks. I call them woke bugs. I mean, it's companies like that nurtured this sort of crap in the first place. But anyway, let's continue.
And it made it looser where we could wear colors and patterns. And now they're deciding that we can only wear black. It's very restrictive. Most of us had to buy new clothes and we can't afford it. We barely make enough money to pay our bills. And also on top of that, they keep trying to make all these changes in union stores, and it's illegal. They're not allowed to make these changes without bargaining with us and voting on this. So it's just incredibly alarming and upsetting that Starbucks is continuing to do.
So they have a new dress code, and it's extremely alarming and upsetting, says this person with the Starbucks Workers United with the, I guess that's a Black Lives Matter communist fist holding the Starbucks thing.
And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
It is, Jackie Gleason. It is.
Illegal things to our union stores. And so we're out here making sure that they know that we're still here, and then we're fighting for that contract.
You shall not pass!
Was she a great big fat person?
Yes, Silence of the Lambs. Yes, she was. I just don't care. I just don't care. This is a level of self-importance, unearned self-importance. It's just they changed the dress code to all black So we're not allowed to wear different colors. You know what they were doing? They were wearing stuff that was offending the customers. They were wearing things with slogans. They were probably, wearing, I don't know. They're probably wearing things that were actually pretty offensive to the customers, right? That's probably why they had to change it. They didn't do it for no reason, right? They did it because these guys blew it, because they had the freedom. They had a little bit of freedom, and they fucked it up, and they blew it. Because they're idiots. I'm not saying all Starbucks. No, of course not. I'm just talking about like these ones. These ones. It's never all of anybody. In fact, it's never like most of anybody. It's like usually a small group that ruins it for everybody else. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see. So, Alpha Fox, largest anaconda ever recorded, caught on camera the other day in the Congo. Oh, AI. Oh, so it's AI. All right. Yeah, so that's not real. That's not real. So I didn't look at this closely. I was just in a rush putting things together for the stream. So that's not real. That's terrifying, though. If that existed, burn, fire, just fire. If that thing was real, if they ever discover something like that, fire, burn it. I guess you'd have to use something like napalm or something that would burn in the water, something like that. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Let's see. What's this one? What do we got here? Scott Jennings, President Trump has flipped war and peace to peace and war, and even people on the left are getting on board. All right. Oh, so yeah, we already saw that, so we don't need to see that again. I guess that's it. There's one button I forgot to press here. Hold on. Let's watch this again for a second. Hold on.
As a proud Kashmiri trans Muslim woman, I'm disabled, and this state hates.
The age of men is over. The time of the orc has come.
Thank you, Gothmog. Somebody needed to say it. All right. And did they hide anything? For sometimes stuff gets hidden from me in these bookmarks. And then I realized later that it didn't show me. Let's update this and just make sure. Oh, there was something hidden from me. What's this? Urologist Dr. Schusterman. It is very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice. He was a former president. He had intensive state-of-the-art care. It's very unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer when they're annually being followed up. The fact that we find it at Gleason 9 is pretty much unheard of. It was a full-blown cover-up. Let's take a look at this. So, yeah, this has come out about Biden, that he has stage 4 prostate cancer, what I thought I saw, advanced. And they're just finding out about it now. So let's take a look.
It's very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice a PSA elevation over the past, but this is what I typically would see in a VA hospital, where a patient hasn't had medical attention in 10 years, presents to an emergency room with bone pain, and then they find that it's metastatic prostate cancer. But in the modern age of medicine, especially the fact that he was a former president, he had intensive state-of-the-art, care where we can see prostate cancer, 10 years in the past. So this is, it's very unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer where they're annually being followed up. And the fact that we just find it at a Gleason 9 is just pretty much unheard of in this day and age of medicine. Even in the, even in the inner city populations, we wouldn't see it.
So you're saying
this bad.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear at this point. So obviously they knew about this, and it's pretty clear at this point that the plan was before that disastrous debate with Trump, to just get him across the finish line, and then he can step away immediately, and it's President Kamala. Call me Kamala.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
No, Kamala. No, I don't. As a matter of fact, clearly that was the plan. Clearly that was the plan. It was just a big con. They were hiding it. What are you guys saying? Let's see. I don't know. I can't find anything from you guys in the, in the chat. You guys are talking about coffee or something? I don't know. Yeah, clearly there was a conspiracy. Can we use that word? Conspiracy to trick the American people into voting for Biden again, thinking Biden would be the president, knowing that he wasn't, knowing very well that he wasn't. So, yeah. And it's not even remotely surprising, is it? Nobody is remotely surprised by that. All right. Let's finish off the chat and we're out of here. And also, I want to say, look, if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Super important. Also, liking the stream, big deal. And you get free good karma when you do it. Free good karma in these troubled times. Can you afford to turn your back on some free good karma? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. All right. I think tomorrow night we're going to do a premium only stream. So I've got to do 5 hours for the month. I haven't done any yet, but I got to do 5 hours for the to stay in the creator program. So we're going to try and knock off a couple of hours tomorrow night. I think that we're going to talk about the ZEV, zero emission vehicle mandates in Canada. It's crazy. They're looking to getting rid of all internal combustion engine cars and also hybrids. So it has to be just purely electric. They want to get all of those off the Canadian market by 2035. And they're ramping it up drastically every year. It's totally insane. If you weren't aware of this, Canada is like frozen half the year. Most of the country is frozen half of the year, where EVs don't really work that well. Aside from the obvious issues of, does anybody believe that they're going to be able to get the grid in any kind of a shape to be able to handle all of those electric vehicles? I don't believe. What do people who live in apartment buildings do? How do they charge them? Like, there's no, the infrastructure isn't there. There is no way they're going to be able to build the infrastructure for it. Canadians won't be happy if we have things like what happened in Spain and Portugal, and there was like 3 countries lost power for like 3 days. They went on a pure green grid, by the way, as Mark Carney wants to do in Canada. Yeah, people aren't going to be happy when the grid goes down for like 2 days because it simply can't handle the load and it gets fried. Like, this is insanity stuff. This is like dystopia stuff. This is crazy shit. And Carney is just full speed ahead on this nonsense. So anyway, I need to do a video just on that, or a good long piece of the stream being just on that. So I think I'll do that tomorrow. I still got a bunch of more research to do on it. If I can't get that all done before the stream, we'll just muck around. We'll just like go through like random stuff on X, right? Just talk. It'll just be a big surprise. I don't know. We could do lots of stuff. We could do some, hold on a second. We could do some of this.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
You guys can throw suggestions, and we'll find out if it's racist or not. If Google says that it's racist or not, we can do. That's where we try to get Grok to do rude pictures of politicians that we don't like or celebrities that we don't like. That's a fun one too. There's all kinds of stuff we can do. Now, if we do the EV stuff tomorrow, If you're not a premium member, I'll probably clip at least that part out of it and publish it at a later time. But you still miss out on all of the other just random stuff we're going to do. It's worth it to get premium. It's worth it to support Rumble with that. It is $10 a month. I know not everybody can afford it, but it is a good thing to do because it is, we are in kind of a free speech war. So if you can, it's good. If you can't, well, you can't. What are you going to do? And that's fine. All right, let's get to the chat. And tomorrow, I think we'll probably do 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock tomorrow. All right. Let's get to the last bit of the chat here. All right. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Radio Streamer says, don't employ idiots. Talking about that Starbucks striker. Let's see. You guys aren't even talking. I'm going through the chat. You guys are not even talking about the stream. Now you're talking about how old you guys are. You're talking about coffee. That's fine. That's fine. You guys can just hang out and talk about this stuff. That's fine. Let's see. Nevada says, they stole the wire to you in LA there. Well, that was the LA video. That's some nasty wiring, as he said. It's just insane. It's just third world. Third world. Let's see. Ottawa James says, it's not bad being a boomer. Nevada says, we had the best cars, music, and ladies. Generally, boomers are awesome and built like the modern world, right? Look, boomers did all the right things. They got married, they had kids, they bought houses. The houses were cheaper. It was, better, definitely better economies back then. But, but I don't think you can blame just this, this whole demographic for all the problems that are now. I think you can blame in Canada, you can blame the liberal boomers who voted for Mark Carney because they wanted to preserve the equity in their houses and they didn't care about the next generation. But you know what? More young people voted for Carney than they voted for Pierre Poilievre as well. So what do you say to that, right? They didn't even vote for themselves. So why do you expect the liberal boomers to, right? But I don't like this idea that it's just like all boomers are no, most of them are great. Right? I was very happy with the world that we had until Justin Trudeau came along. Right? There were problems already starting in Canada. There were, but not like today. It's a different country today. I blame Trudeau and the far left and anybody who voted for him from whatever generation and voted for Carney, obviously. Let's see. Oh yeah, take the mask off. Yeah, she was still wearing a mask in 2025. Nevada says, "What a libtard." I didn't even comment on it. How did I not comment on the mask? Let's see. Radio Streamer says, buy a cheap coffee machine once every few years, not woke commie bucks. 100%. Let's see. Nevada said 7-Eleven has good coffee for a fourth the price and no attitude. Let's see. Let's see. All right, I'm going to skip a little bit further. Ottawa James says, Radio B, you have good insight, brother. Well, thank you very much. You get applause for that. All right. Spambot says we will need 1,000 coal-fired power plants to raise the temps enough to not have winter anymore. It would take more than that, a lot more than that. And let's see. Let's see. All right. Rosie says, time for coffee ad. I can't because it's we've got the problem with the stream again. It's happening too often, I have to say, where you notice there's no chat on the screen tonight. Because it happens occasionally where I start the stream and it's just not connected for some reason. I can't do ads. There's no ads. And I mean, the stream works, but there's none of the extra stuff. I can't have the chat on the screen, the Rumble chat on the screen. I can't have the ads. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Let's see. Jefferson 33 says, Canada owes us trillions. We don't have it. Jefferson 33 says we should invade Canada. No, don't. Please don't. No, totally don't do that. We love our prime minister. We love being a commie country. Seriously, though, the whole 51st state thing, I don't know. I just want a good Canada. I used to love Canada. Right? Canada used to be a great country. I want it to be like that again. But the more it gets messed up, the less Canadians are going to care. I mean, we're given no reason to be patriotic, by the way. Apparently, the only reason to be patriotic is for hockey games and if Trump is mean. So that's it. That was the elbows up thing, right? 5 minutes earlier, it was Canada's a perpetual genocide, infinite genocide state, full of these evil settler colonists, and everybody's racist, and everybody who's not white is racialized. This insidious word racialized, which just suddenly popped up into every article and every newscast that overnight, but totally not planned at all. I mean, that kind of puts a bit of a damper on the whole patriotism thing when they say that the country's evil. It is not even a legitimate country, and it's, a post-national state and no core identity. Puts a little bit of a damper on the patriotism thing, I guess, unless TV says elbows up because Trump was mean. It's a country of frozen retards. And you know what? I thought I would never say that. I'm not black-pilled, though. I still have hope for Canada as an independent country. Jefferson 33 says, anyway, great show, Trump 2028. Oh, could you imagine the meltdown? Trump 2028. I think it'll be advanced 2028. And I think he'll be great. Wanda says, another great show. See you Tuesday. Thank you. Rosie says, if you cannot do ads, there should be no they, them energy. I'm sorry. It's just the way it worked out. Izzy says, please come liberate us from these commies. We're going to have to liberate ourselves. Let's see. Ottawa James says, election was close. The liars won more seats. We need another minimum 4% to feel safe. That can be done. We don't need all of the people that were. It's not even that they were tricked into voting for Carney. It's just they wanted any excuse to vote Liberal. They just didn't want to vote Liberal if it was Trudeau in there. But I'm telling you right now, if Trudeau had stayed on and stayed in through that election, probably still would have won because the NDP voting base abandoned them because there's no difference really between if you want woke, if you want radical progressive, then just vote for the Liberal Party. You don't even need the NDP anymore, right? The people who voted for the Liberals just wanted to vote for anything other than conservative. They just didn't want a conservative government. It didn't matter the policies. Nothing matters. It's just so deeply unfashionable in their bubble. I'm not convinced that Trudeau couldn't have actually won. Once the election was on and it was like, well, you've either got to vote for sanity or you can keep voting for the fashionable lunacy. It's a problem. You don't see the fortunes of a party change that rapidly and say, well, Pierre Poilievre blew it. No, he didn't. At the very height of his conservative polling, it was 44%. He got almost 42%. He didn't lose anybody, right? It's just the left united to prevent sanity from prevailing in this country. That's the cold, hard reality. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't anything. It was just mind virus. It was political fashion. Ottawa James says, free Canada. All right. So I guess that's it, you guys. And Rosie says they redrew his district. That's right. They added for Pierre Poilievre, they added a liberal neighborhood to his riding. It's a miracle that he won in Ottawa, an Ottawa district for 20 years anyway. But yeah, they redrew it. That's why he lost. They added a bunch of liberals to it. So there you go. All right, everybody. I hope to see most of you tomorrow night for a premium only stream. Again, I'm not doing premium only because I think that I'm hot shit or that I'm special. I'm doing it because I have to do 5 hours to stay in the Rumble Creator Program, which has worked out pretty good for me. So that's why I'm doing it. And if people get premium membership and watch, I think it makes Rumble like me more. They think that I'm cooler. So anyway, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are basically half the show now. I appreciate all of you. If you guys weren't there, I would not do this because I would be speaking into a cold and indifferent void, and that wouldn't be fun. That'd be depressing. But it's not because you guys are here. So thanks, you guys. You guys are fantastic. And I will see you Tuesday. Oh, no, sorry, tomorrow night, and then we'll be going Tuesday night as well. See you tomorrow, 7 o'clock Pacific time.